spectators, you are participators. So tonight, you pick a side, you go with this side. We need to generate some energy and some noise. So I need to know who in the house is supporting the New Zealand All Blacks. You're going to give me more than that, guys. That's about a 5.5 out of 10. They come all the way over here to Sydney. They need to hear from you. Who's supporting the New Zealand All Blacks? That's the sort of energy you want. Now coming down this end, they come all the way across the world here in Australia. Who's here supporting Team Canada? I like that Canadian flag that makes a noise. Let me warm it up just a little bit more. Give me a bit more on this one. Who's supporting Team Canada? Alright folks, we're going to introduce your team shortly. When you crank the music up, you get a chance to move, get loose, warm up, just like these guys are. Continue to bring some energy, bring some noise. We're going to go on these guys tonight. Let me hear you make a bit of noise for Team Canada! Your captain, Pagos. Number 2, Dwayne Notice. Number 3, Melvin Edgehill. Number 11, Andrew Newhart. Number 12, Aaron Best. Number 15, O'Shea Brissett. Number 17, Owen Klassen. Number 21, Thomas Scrub. Number 23, Phil Scrub. Number 24, Tim Birch. And number 33, Carl Wiltshire. And head coach for the Toronto Raptors, Nick Nurse. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please be upstanding for the national anthems of New Zealand and Canada?
Well, welcome to the stunning city of Sydney, a beautiful harbour location, and where tonight you find us at Sydney Olympic Park, home of the Sydney 2000 Games. But right now, it's all about New Zealand and Canada as they go head-to-head in the second and final game of their series ahead of the 2019 FIBA World Cup in China, which is now just 9 days away. Canada were awesome last night, winning by 34 points. They pounded New Zealand on the boards as well, and the Kiwis, well, they will be looking for a much better start as they get set to try and level this series up at one win apiece. They didn't start well on the floor, but the pre-game haka is one of the best in international sport. Absolutely fantastic way to start proceedings. Hi everybody, I'm John Casey. Great to have your company. I'm with four-time Olympian Australian Shane Hill and three-time World Cup player for New Zealand, Casey Frank. We were stunned last night though, Hammer. We didn't expect Canada to have it all their own way.
They were outstanding really, particularly at the offensive end, and New Zealand were quite poor, but we saw that from New Zealand last week. They lost the first game against Japan, fought back well, and I expect them to be a lot more competitive tonight.
And I want to see who steps up for the Kiwis. Who's going to point the finger at themselves and hold their teammates accountable for the poor play and really step up on the defensive end and just show some fortitude.
Well, it was 34-point differential, 20 on the boards, and the bench scoring last night was incredibly lopsided, 76-18 Canada's way. Can you turn that around, Hammer?
Well, you can turn it around, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to turn it around and turn it into a win. I think they'll be a lot more competitive, probably single digits, but this Canadian team, like you've said, they've done it by committee, they've made big shots. Unbelievable from the three-point line at 45%. So that's got to be the key for New Zealand to shut that down first and foremost.
Yeah, got to take away the three-point line most definitely. It all starts on the defensive end. The offense was fine. There was no issues there. But defensively, just not enough effort, just not enough sticking to the game plan. Got to go work them off the three-point line.
Well, Canada are getting it done from every player who've been producing. And one last night was Melvin Edgem. He's standing by and spoke a little earlier with Corey Williams.
Great performance by Team Canada yesterday. You won by 34. What are you expecting today from New Zealand?
You know, we're expecting them to be more aggressive today, really come out, try to hit first, make a lot of shots. We know they shoot a lot of three-pointers and they can hit those. So just got to be ready for that and be ready to hit back.
I know you mentioned to me in Perth you've never been to Sydney or Australia. You know anything about Sydney?
Yeah, my dad actually lived in Sydney for a couple of years, so I've heard a little bit from him. But we're excited to go out and see the city and do a little bit of stuff tomorrow.
Now, there's some really amazing places in Sydney. You ever plan on going, you or your teammates, going to climb the Sydney Harbour Bridge?
Yeah, we actually talked about going to the bridge and not going all the way to the top, but seeing some of it and getting a view from out there and possibly going to the Sydney Opera.
Well, I just want to tell you one thing. You can do whatever you want to do in this city. Stay out of the water. There's some really big sharks, and I'm sure they're hungry for 6'5" players.
All right, sounds good.
All right, good luck.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Melvin Edgem there with Corey Williams. And they should be relaxed. Beat Australia by 20, beat New Zealand by 34. They play the United States here on Monday night. But Nick Nurse has done an outstanding job. He's going to shuffle the deck again tonight. His fourth game here in Australia and the fourth different starting five we're going to see. Whereas in contrast, the Kiwis are going with the same five as they did last night and in fact in the two games against Japan. That is set. But the good news is we'll see Alex Pledger tonight. He's back from illness and he's certainly going to be important.
Yeah, I think the Kiwis know who their core five are and who has to produce. They've got to get these right with only 10 days out from the Worlds. Canada, on the other hand, working on combinations. They've got a lot of talent. They're still trying to figure out what their best lineup, their most potent lineup can be.
And with Birch out of the lineup tonight, he's been outstanding since coming to Australia. They'll be looking for one of their other bigs to be able to step up tonight. Wiltshire, he didn't play last night. Great three-point shooting, so he'll have an opportunity to be able to step in, and no doubt the Kiwis will be ready to shut him down.
And certainly a great job last night as well by O'Shea Brissett. But those who saw the game with us here last night would have seen Kazar Kajami King go down with an ankle injury. Good reports today. He's up here at the game, won't play, of course, but walking around. And Coach Nurse told me pre-game that if it was his choice, he'd play on Monday night against the USA. And Coach Nurse was also, well, he was very keen to rubbish reports that Corey Joseph wouldn't be at the World Cup, and we'll play you that interview at halftime. I'm sure our Canadian viewers will enjoy that. But we're underway here at the Key Centre in Sydney. And Canada working to the left of your screen to control the tip. Vaughan Mabry, Chris Reid and John Chapman are our three referees. His Pangos has been outstanding in this series. Can't get the first shot to fall. And New Zealand have a chance to open the scoring.
Well, that was a much more aggressive start to the game already, with Fotu coming out with such a hard show. Long way from the basket, but they got away with it.
We've got to stay aggressive. They need to be as aggressive as they can to get this Canadian team off the three-point line where they're so potent just a night ago.
Quick whistle here from John Chapman. So Melbourne Edgem picks up the foul. Now, these three referees are in their first game of the four that we've seen. So it will be interesting to see if there's any adjustments that they make or the teams need to make. Nick Nurse has made a point of commenting about the refereeing. Ty Webster hands over. Abercrombie, he fires, can't connect. Good job there, keeping it alive by Rob Lowe. Presents another opportunity for the captain, Corey Webster, firing unsuccessfully. Now there's another foul going to be called on Canada here, and Kevin Pangos has been pinged for the foul.
Isaac Fotu just planting himself down low and being a more physical presence right off the bat. You spoke about the show on the screen, and now underneath really doing work on the boards.
And they lack that physicality, especially with Mika Vukona out. They need someone with energy. There's a nice little baseline out of bounds play. It's Abercrombie to the free throw line, but they need to make a statement. It's got to come from their biggest and their strongest. And I'll be interested to see too whether they go back to him in the block. They did in the second half last night. They got some really good dividends from that.
Well, Nick Nurse is talking here aggressively to Vaughan Mabry. He's had his problems with the referees, has mentioned that to us a couple of times pre-game, and I got the impression that he was bordering on boiling over because he hasn't been happy.
Well, I don't blame him to a certain degree because there's been some inconsistencies. It was like playing rugby league in Perth, and there was aspects last night where the physicality was refereed differently than it would have been that he's used to, and a lot of the players had to make adjustments.
There's no question Australia and New Zealand play a different brand of physicality than the rest of the world in world basketball, and teams do take a while to get used to that.
Phil Scrubb off the mark. He nailed the first shot of the game 24 hours ago to get scoring underway. Here's Corey Webster. There's more energy about the Kiwis here tonight, and straight away they've opened up a 4-point edge.
Well, right off the bat, they're going to the basket. They're not going away. They're not settling for jump shots, but they're putting the pressure on the Canadian defense, which there was none last night.
Phil Scrubb, Brissett, Abercrombie in the air, worked a little closer to the hoop, knocked down a tough shot, chance at a three-point play.
Wow, that is a tough shot. Left his feet, still got a foul, made it, and that's Corey Webster, just with a little step-away screen on the other side in transition, and that's how I like seeing him play basketball. We know he's so potent, and good pass.
Wow, yeah, excellent pass. You spoke about Corey Webster and his assists last night. He was doing a nice job in a subpar performance for the team, but man, how about that finish there by O'Shea? Very impressive.
Here's Fotu with it, by Klassen, who's starting for the first time here in Australia. Ty Webster had his pass battered down, spills to Lowe. Now Corey Webster, shot clock works to 5. He's got problems, his hands full here, working against Phil Scrubb. Works into the paint, can't complete it, no surprise. Oh, Klassen had it knocked away by Lowe. And they get another chance here. As Abercrombie in the corner feeds Corey Webster for the 3.
Night 2, a different story. Aggressiveness all over the place, all over the offensive glass when there were 0 opportunities last night.
5-point lead now in favour of New Zealand. It's 7-2 after 2 minutes in the opening term. Vaughan Mabry makes the call. And this time it's Paulie Hanari who's not convinced.
And that was a great show again from Fotu. Good extra pass here from Abercrombie. Nice start from Corey Webster. He was cold early last night, as we spoke about. Did a good job of getting his teammates involved. Started to hit some shots in the second half. But I loved that show from Fotu. And that was a flat pick too, so he couldn't come out and hard show. It was a real flat, aggressive show that really almost caused a turnover.
And that aggressiveness on the defensive end is leading to aggression on the offensive end, and just getting them more mentally attuned to the game. Really good to see them adjust to the speed of the Canadians after such a quick turnaround.
Shot clock to single digits here for Phil Scrubb. He's lost the dribble, has to clean up his own mess outside. Melvin Edgem elevates off glass, can't complete it. Well, Klassen just held Rob Lowe off there and allowed Brissett to scoop up the offensive rebound and throw it down.
Always good to be in the right place at the right time.
Here's Ty Webster, guarded by Pangos. Good screen set by Fotu. Works into a confined space and came up with a heads-up play there to throw it off the leg of Pangos and keep possession.
They've been really aggressive off any of the pick and rolls Canadian team tonight, and especially when Rob Lowe's in the lineup. He picks, he pops, and they've done a good job of really being able to deflect that ball going back to an open shot.
Ty Webster with it, got away from Pangos once more. Ball handling an issue. Here's Fotu, shot clock at 2, is going to have to come up with something quick. Can't connect. Brissett the rebound, and Pangos is off and running. Plenty of activity ahead of him. Well, Brissett catch and shoot with a 3 ball. Caught it deep. Rob Lowe gets after the rebound and feeds Abercrombie. No teammates ahead of him, but he may not be discouraged by that, the way he can shoot it. Here's Corey Webster. He tried to find Fotu, spills to Abercrombie, who elevates him just beyond the foul line, adds another 2, and the Kiwis have a 5-point break. Tick over 3 minutes played here in the opening term. Phil Scrubb off the mark. Fotu did it well, but it spills to Pangos. Now he gets a wide open look, Phil Scrubb. Still can't get it the connection he was after. Great job there from Klassen, though, to keep it alive and give Canada another chance. It's Edgem. He's happy to spray one up quickly. And eventually Fotu puts a stop to it.
Well, complete contrast to last night. They could not miss from the 3-point line early. Tonight, they're 0 from 6.
Corey Webster, step back. Off the mark. Fotu climbing high. Klassen's got his hands full. There's certainly great energy about New Zealand here tonight. And Canada to just 2 of 9 from the field and none of 6 from deep so far. They are quite a contrast to the shooting show they put on last night. So Pangos recognising that rusher to the hoop, but from close range can't connect. 2 of 10 now from the field, Canada.
And a much more physical and stout defense by the Kiwis. They're putting bodies on shooters and not giving open looks.
Lowe peels off the 3. They've got problems here, Canada, at the moment, as the margin balloons out to 8. Took over 4 minutes played in the opening term.
Rob Lowe picking up where he left off. Poor shooting in the first half last night, but really picked it up, and that confidence is carried over to the first quarter.
Brissett shares it with Edgem. Now Phil Scrubb. Pangos. Shot clock rolls to 5. Klassen against Lowe. Down in the low block. The hook shot. Can't complete it. Well done again from Brissett with the offensive rebound to keep it alive. Draws Fotu out of the paint. Here's Phil Scrubb over Jews. Still no reply for him. Loose ball. Klassen gets after it. Ball trickles out of court. Canada with possession.
Both teams are really attacking the offensive rebounds. See great extra pass in transition to Lowe in the corner. And his feet set. We know that he's automatic. But 4 offensive rebounds already for Team Canada, and 3 for the Kiwis.
Yeah, both teams doing a more physical, putting a more physical presence on the offensive glass, but the difference in the offense from last night to tonight for New Zealand is just stark. The extra pass over and over again, the speed with which they're playing, and the aggressiveness to the hole. Good to see that confidence bounce back, and Canada now has to figure some things out defensively.
My bad, of course. New Zealand possession, but Canada none of 7 from long range and 2 of 12 from the field. Pledger, he's firing from the foul line and adding another 2. They've scored the last 7 here and have got a double-figure lead.
The 7-footer with the feathery touch.
Well, this is complete contrast to what we saw last night when Canada exploded out of the blocks with a double-figure lead inside 2 minutes. Here it is with New Zealand with a double-figure lead, and Phil Scrubb firing after missing his first 4 shots, knocks down the 3.
Have a look at the defensive transition from Canada. They've got 5 people all loaded up, so you can't get a piece of the paint. And there you see it again with that drive. Canada prepared to put their body on the line.
Yeah, speaking to Paul Henare before the game, was he an excellent pass out there to scrub for the finish. But Paul Henare spoke about the way that Canada sets at that wall defensively and just really closes off all lanes, passing and otherwise, and everybody's got their hands out, making themselves really big and difficult to pass through and find those driving lanes.
Jared Kenny's checked into the game. Corey Webster got rid of Phil Scrub. Back to Kenny in the corner. Good look, good finish. Opening points for Jared Kenny.
Well, great heads-up play from Corey Webster. That's his 3rd assist out of 5 for New Zealand. So good heads-up play, and that's exactly what Kenny has to do. When his feet's set, we know he's a good shooter. He just has to back himself. Especially out of that corner.
Phil Scrub with it. Shot clock works the single numbers. Here's Wiltshire. Ran into Finn Delaney. Now he's got problems. Pangos from well outside the three-point line. Can't finish it. And Corey Webster the rebound.
A lot of gang rebounds for New Zealand. Everybody's thirsty for the basketball. Nobody's taking off early.
Webster goes solo. Couldn't get it to finish. Now Pangos. Nemhart working hard up the floor for him and draws contact. Getting the quick footwork from Andrew Nemhart as he barrels into Ethan Ruspatch and draws the foul.
He's grabbing something on his leg, lower leg there. Nemhart looks like he might have tweaked an ankle, possibly a calf, on that contact with Ethan Ruspatch. And there we see Jared Kenny with the triple out of the corner. This is the last thing Team Canada wants to see. Already short some guards. Don't want to see Nemhart having a little bit of a niggly injury himself.
It's not a good sign. It's exact same spot where we saw Kaiser Kajami King go down last night with that ankle problem. And he is slow to get back to his feet here. And in fact is struggling to even get to his feet now. This isn't a good sign. What has been one of the most exciting players that we've seen here. 19 years of age. Played with the Florida Gators. Averaged 8 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists in 36 games. And this does not look promising at all.
Yeah, interesting to see what they're grabbing there. It's like a knee injury. If it looks, is it on the bone from the contact? Didn't look like he tweaked his ankle when we saw that replay. So
yeah, let's just hope that it's more a knee-on-knee injury than it is any sort of twist. A little bit hard to tell.
Yeah, difficult. Just a lot of contact up high. And just shook his knee around a little bit, possibly a little bit of displacement.
Yeah, definitely knee on knee. So let's just hope, touch wood, that it's more an impact injury than any sort of twisting. Yeah, we've spoken about his impact and how exciting it is for Canada to have somebody coming through the ranks and gaining this sort of experience, playing international basketball against veterans. But I don't think Nick Nurse will be upset that his team is going to be challenged tonight. That's exactly what they need if they're going to continue to evolve. Their next game is against Team USA on Monday, so they're certainly going to want a tough game. They don't need a 34-point victory again. He wants his team to be challenged.
Most definitely. The last thing you need going into a World Cup is to be filled with confidence. It's good to get punched in the mouth every once in a while.
So 3.5 remaining in the opening term. New Zealand by 10 here. Pangos wheeling and dealing. Feeds outside and finds Dwayne Notice ready to go. And he knocks down the 3. Opens his scoring account. Stout guard out of the corner. Nails the triple. Grabbing that opportunity with Nemhart out of the game. Jared Kenny. Now Ty Webster. Pledger down low. Wiltshire on his back. Slapping away at the ball. The big man works into the paint. Can't complete it. Wiltshire feeds Dwayne Notice. Best working hard up the floor. In one wing. Pangos on the other, getting some treatment from Ty Webster. They both thought a foul should have been called. Suspect the whistle won't be far away from those two. Notice turns down the look. Goes to Kyle Wiltshire. He fires from the top of the key. Can't complete it. Excellent work on the boards there from Aaron Best, but he can't keep it alive. New Zealand get possession.
Their intensity at the defensive end tonight is the complete opposite to what we saw last night. Australia fell into the same sort of trap. Game 1 in Perth really came out a bit daisy-chained, but then game 2 really, came with the right mindset. It just shows that you can get it done, but you have to come out and engage at the defensive end and be proactive.
Yeah, I don't think I can recall one extra pass being forced on Canada last night. That time there was 3 passes on 1 possession.
Here's Ty Webster. Penetration, kicks outside Delaney. Works inside Tommy Scrub that came back for seconds. Close range Abercrombie down on the baseline. Now reaching in, Abercrombie's going to be called for the foul. Will be the third team foul on New Zealand in this quarter. Likewise, Canada has 3 in the first term.
Oh, look, quiet work from the nurse. Obviously worked with Vaughan Mabry there. Didn't look like there was a lot of contact. I thought, no doubt that New Zealand knocked it out.
That's the pressure you can put on officials when you've got NBA rings.
No doubt, and rightly so.
It's definitely earned.
Well,
not the foul.
Well, he's coached all around the world too. He came up to me before the game and he said, 1996, I coached in London for the Birmingham Bullets for the Robleski family, who also owned the Sydney Kings here in Sydney. So he's been everywhere and he's earned his right to be able to do what he's done.
Phil Scrubb, the only starter on the floor at the moment for Canada. This is Ty Webster, along with Abercrombie and Rob Lowe. Original 5. Ooh, Abercrombie, athletically but unsuccessfully close to the bucket. Now they've coughed it up. Chance for Wiltshire, plenty in support. Dwayne Notice works inside Delaney, kicks it outside. Firing is Tommy Scrubb. Can't complete it, and Lowe gets after the rebound.
How about a 3-on-1 stop? Haven't seen any of that last night. The contrast, once again, just so impressive in just 24 hours.
They certainly made some adjustments here, the Tall Blacks. As Ty Webster elevates, turned it down, went to Lowe, who fires, and he buries it. 8 in the game now for Rob Lowe, who leads all scorers.
And that's just a great late decision from Ty Webster. Went up for that shot, recognised that the big man, who is very, very good with his feet set, was wide open.
Wiltshire for Notice. Turn, Tommy Scrubb baseline, running out of room, but still able to get an effective shot away. Comes up with his first score in the game.
It's such an unusual game and really used it to great effect there.
It's Ty Webster taking them on. Count it, and a chance of a 3-point play. Athletic work.
And that's Ty Webster at his best, cutting to the basket, using his athleticism and his silky smooth scoring abilities in the air, making a late decision on the layup and getting that late block. Here we see him here with that late pass, and I think that's something they would have seen on film today. Last night we could see Canada paying so much attention to the ball. There was an extra pass there, but it wasn't being made. But tonight, seeing that extra pass consistently.
That's what Ty Webster has to do. If he's denied getting a catch on the wing, that quick back door, try and put pressure on that weak side defense. He's one of their best athletes.
Makes the extra, so game high. 11-point lead. We've got 45 seconds on the clock until quarter time. Happy to slow it down here, Phil Scrubb, guarded by Abercrombie. He set a circle. Shot clock works to 10 now. Phil Scrubb goes on with it. Confronted by Lowe, draws a foul. 14th foul on New Zealand. First personal on Lowe.
You see the difference in Isaac Fotu coming up on an on-ball and Rob Lowe. The quickness and the mobility Fotu has, he's able to go out there and show hard and recover. Rob Lowe step late there, giving that opportunity for Phil Scrubb to get to the hole.
And only 12 points for Canada. They're shooting the ball at 25%. At quarter time last night, they had 35 points. And they shot the ball at 55% overall. Certainly gone a little bit dry, but I think it's more about the effort and the intensity that New Zealand have brought, more so than Canada playing poorly.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It's certainly true. I think Canada's looking as crisp as they were last night. They're of course down a couple of players themselves, so a little short-handed, but the confidence that they would have had rolling into today, thinking they're going to walk over, they would have been quite surprised themselves.
Well, this ball came back to Phil Scrubb. Inside 30 seconds on the clock until quarter time. Shot clock at single digits here. Phil Scrubb against Corey Webster. Now starts to find Edgen. Now Aaron Best, who was great last night, can't connect here. And Lowe just palms the rebound down for Corey Webster. They can slow it down for the last play of term number 1. Canada are going to come up with their lowest scoring quarter since they've been in Australia. Webster for Lowe, who's been busy. Marches into the paint, rejected. How about the athleticism from Melbourne? Edgen to shut them down on quarter time. But the opening stanza honours are with New Zealand. They hold a 10-point break. It's New Zealand 23, Canada 13. More from the Key Centre in Sydney as we count down to the FIBA World Cup in just a moment. Well, in 24 hours from now, we will be in Melbourne, a city bursting with art galleries, iconic laneways, a brilliant live music scene and an unrivaled sense of style. But more than anything, it's known as Australia's sporting capital and a global event city attracting the best of the best. And some of them already arrived there with Team USA in town to take on our homegrown heroes, the Australian Boomers, in front of 55,000 plus at Marvel Stadium. Don't miss these games. Tomorrow night it all gets underway. The stadium taking shape as we speak, and we back up on Saturday as well for the two biggest games in Australia in almost 20 years. And Shane Hill can't wait to get down there.
Bring it on, Case. 55,000 people. I saw a little video of it, of what was happening there today, and I'm very excited to be able to get down there and get amongst it. But in this game, we spoke about the Kiwis being smashed on the boards, 53-33 last night. We'll have a look at that. 18-11, they are up. They've turned the tables. They've done it with an aggressive mindset. And we know rebounding is all about effort.
We should point out for our Sydney viewers as well, they'll get a chance to see Team USA on Monday night at Kudos Bank Arena against Canada, which will be a great matchup as well. Underway in the second quarter, possession arrow with the Kiwis, who lead by 11. Here's Fotu, wheeling and dealing and showing them some tricks and adding to the carnage.
Just patience inside, using his physicality and that spin move that is just really deadly when he gets that big, trying to lean against him and push him off the block.
Top of the key, Phil Scrubb over to brother Tommy, who penetrates, lost the handle on it, knocked down out of court by Corey Webster, but this is worth another look.
Well, this is just poise. You called it well, Case. No doubt about that. Just looked for his shooters everywhere, but knew exactly where he wanted to go with that drop step to the baseline. He needs more touches.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a place where they can really change their offensive look. He's got the ability to score in that low post with his stoutness and the quickness he has on those spin moves. It doesn't matter. He may give up a few inches occasionally, but in particular tonight, he's being guarded by guys the same size, and they just can't hold him on the block.
Well, let's get to Corey Williams, who was listening in with Paulie Anari at quarter time.
Well, Paulie Anari has his team up and at it. He was really happy and enthusiastic with his teammates' efforts in the first quarter, but he's still demanding them defensively more to be more aggressive.
His wheelchair, stolen by Corey Webster, but he had a foot on the baseline as well, so reward for effort there. Canada will get it back.
The rotations, it's just a world apart. Look at this effort from Corey Webster to come out from behind, come down and get that steal. That was an easy layup last night, and just a mindset change. I'm just really impressed by what is, for the most part, a pretty young squad, what they've been able to do just overnight.
Yeah, full credit to them. This is a vastly improved effort. It's all about the mindset. And they just weren't ready to go last night. They scored 8 without reply, or 10 without reply inside 2 minutes, Canada, and then went on to 20-0-1 later in the first quarter.
Well, and it doesn't matter what team you are. If you don't come out with a mindset, as we see, is he trying to throw that off the board?
Definitely not.
Coming from behind?
I don't think, maybe if Tom Abercrombie's in the game, it was a foul by Isaac Fotu, but I think he just got his steps mixed up. I think he was caught in between trying to get a dunk up and just trying to get a quick layup. But what he really got caught in between was a bad shot.
I was as confused watching it as he was doing it.
I think his teammates are going to have a laugh at him when that one pops up in film later on this evening and tomorrow.
The foul was called on Fotu. It was his first personal, but the second team foul on New Zealand here inside 60 seconds, term number 2. And Phil Scrubb to the free throw line. Finished with 8 points last night. Phil Scrubb didn't score in the second half, though. Margin still at double figures. It's Ty Webster. Shows Aaron Best some of his finest. Now Corey Webster with it. Guarded by Phil Scrubb. Klassen on the retreat. Fires, can't complete it. Active work on the boards there. Came from Smith-Milner. In the corner, he's got it back again. So he measures the triple. It's well short. Klassen wrestling with Fotu. Did well, held him off, got the ball. Phil Scrubb. Nice work from him. Dwayne Notice for the finishing touches.
Great onside dribble. Really shifts the defense. Got his way to the bucket. Great heads-up play to hit that 3 for the corner. And I love that timeout from Paul Hanare. Margin back to 7 points. The Canadians have some momentum.
And speaking of Paulie Hanari, I spoke with him pre-game and asked him about where he saw the leadership coming from here in Game 2 after a disappointing opening game.
Yeah, look, that's been one of the, I guess, one of the holes that we've been trying to fill ever since those two boys have been out. So we've formed a leadership group and tried to combine I guess, guys that have had different levels of experience with a little bit of youth as well. And one of the great things about having Ruben and Mika here is that they've been able to spend time with that leadership group. So, you know, it's a work in progress and something that we're working towards, you know, hopefully trying to fill that void of those guys not being there.
There's no Ruben Tarangi, and there's Mika Vicona, who's out as well. Of course, this is a hectic schedule, Casey, because they head off to Four Nations tournament in China. They're going to be playing again on Saturday, and then, of course, the World Cup so quickly after that. And their first up assignment, well, they face Greece, which could make or break their chances of getting out of the group.
Yeah, I think actually their first game is against Brazil. The third game is against Greece. But what you're saying, it's still the same thing. Brazil is certainly a make-or-break game for them. If they don't win that one, even if they're playing their best basketball, I think Greece is going to be a tough ask in Game 3. So they really have to win that first game to give themselves a good chance to get out.
That is a tough pool, isn't it? I mean, there's no easy games in the World Cup, but wow, talk about Brazil and Greece first up.
The way the format's changed from 6 teams to 4 has really changed it and made every game so important.
Here's Isaac Fotu, got beyond Klassen. Outlet pass, found Corey Webster, who goes to brother Ty. He fires unsuccessfully. Excellent offensive rebound from Smith Milner, but he was worried out of the points. Here's Phil Scrubb trying to draw contact against Nartai, who stayed with him and rejected the shot.
Great play from Jordan Nartai too. Obviously, Scrubb was trying to encourage that contact, but have a look, kept his arms high, stayed in the play. Great timing, get that out of here.
Well, that's a really tough, difficult play to not commit a foul in that instance, to take that elbow, not retaliate, and still just play, get the hand up on the shot.
Wiltshire from outside, caught it short, loose ball. Klassen got a piece of it, but it spills here to Ty Webster. Full of energy here, New Zealand. Just the 2 points for them, though, and it took over 2 minutes since quarter time. As Webster dribbles into an end, goes back to Corey Webster. Shot clock at single digits. He goes to work. Floater wouldn't work, and Klassen with the rebound.
And that's the time in the game I would love to see them throw the ball inside to Fotu. The Canadians are coming back at them. They've got a little bit of momentum. You just don't want to play by luck. You want to play by strategy. Get the ball in the right person's hands as we see another 3 from Canada.
I think that's a place that the Tall Blacks can certainly improve, is figuring out when we have to have a bucket, what play do we go to. They're getting the ball caught on the sideline, end up with some action running towards the basket with all the defenders running at you. But what's the bread and butter play that's going to get you a bucket 9 times out of 10?
And now's the perfect time to do it as well, because Fotu's gone to the 4 spot. Wilshire's not the best defensive player, not physically as strong either. So you want to get him the ball down low.
Canada scored the last 8 here, making a run. Can they steady the ship? Corey Webster does just that.
Corey Webster, a different player tonight. Hits his second three of the ball game, I believe. But he's a nice find by his brother on the wing and a big shot when they needed it.
Took over 3 minutes played here in the second. Margin is 6. Started the term with an 11-point lead. The scrub hits the deck. So too Rusbatch. There's Dwayne Notice taking them on, drawing a foul. He's off to the free throw line. Ty Webster picks up the personal, his first.
This is a great play because you see Pledger roll to the basket. There has to be some sort of help. Webster rises out of the corner. A perfect spot for him to be able to come from. And that's a really strong play to the bucket.
Dwayne Notice looks like a very physical guard. Looks like he'd like it down there, banging it inside, and who got Ty Webster onto his hip. Knew the foul was going to come. And Ty Webster out of position, just kind of hacks him with that off arm.
Well, you look at his body type, and you wouldn't be expecting that all 6 of his points have come from 2 threes. You would think he'd be a guy that wants to play like what we've just seen, using that strength and getting himself to the paint.
Average 10 points, 3 boards. The Raptors in the G League. Nice finish there from Klassen as he makes something out of nothing. Well, not going to count that as a 2, just a single. Rusbatch with it, wrestling off the ball here. Fotu and Melvin Edgem almost got a little out of control. Single digits on the shot clock here. Rusbatch picks up the dribble. Pledger, close attention from Klassen, forced to fire with 3 on the shot clock. Good defensive stance here from Canada. And Brissett and Fotu just colliding off the ball there, which look to good. Here's Phil Scrubb, fall away. It's all the bottom of the net and back to within 3.
Well, I love the defensive intensity from Edgem. He said, Fotu, you're not getting the ball on the block. He was aggressive, he was physical, he's adjusted to this sort of defense at an international stage.
Yeah, Isaac Fotu, I think he needs to, when these moments pop up, he needs to be more assertive on the block and not let those guys get around him. He can hold them off even in that position with Scrub on him. He's got to get that ball down and know that we need to bucket now. It's on my shoulders to get it with the ball in this position.
Pledger to the bench, still doesn't look 100% after sitting out last night with illness. What a great tag team he's got going with Rob Lowe. 8 points at the moment for Rob Lowe to lead all scorers in that opening quarter. So they're a good tandem.
Well, I like the fact they do something very different. Obviously, Pledger wants to play inside, the big 7-footer. Lowe with that beautiful touch from the perimeter.
Here's Corey Webster, thought he was fouled, tried to milk it. Couldn't get the call, but he gets the 3.
Thought he was fouled. I thought he was fouled too. Had his arm nearly ripped off right there in the corner, but it goes down.
Playing through the pain, playing through the contact. Big shot.
Tough shot on that occasion and came up empty. Brissett. Corey Webster, full of confidence in the moment, shares it with Kenny. He works down to the baseline, looking to create some space. Gets it back from Rusbatch. Corey Webster from deep. He's off the front of the rim. Fotu, though, gets after it, keeps it alive. Here's Rob Lowe working on Klassen. Back to Corey Webster. In turn, Kenny gets a good look at it. He caught it deep as well. Nice job, Dwayne Notice, to grab the rebound.
I reckon one of the areas that both teams are going to have to get used to for international basketball is that I reckon there was 3 or 4 travels on that last possession alone by taking that first step, as we see Pangos showing his class with a runner.
Yeah, the way the European officials call that travel is vastly different to what the officials down here call, and you will not get away with that.
Rusbatch hard to the hoop, draws contact. He's off to the free throw line inside the last 5 minutes here of the first half.
Well, the referees in Europe will argue with you that you can't get a catch and go in the same direction. They will argue that it's impossible to do it, so you have to cross it over every time. And you actually have to adjust your game and understand that's the way it is. No good arguing with them, because at the end of the day, they win.
Yeah, definitely, and probably a little bit quicker with the whistle as well when you're having that argument with one of the European officials. But you're most definitely right, and that's a big adjustment for players from New Zealand, Australia, and from North America, because it's a very different style where you're always allowed to get with that in that same direction. But having to do it and change directions is it is quite the learning curve for a lot of guys.
Impressed with Rusbatch. 9 points last night, but in the 2 games against Japan, 12 in the first game, game high 16 in the second. He's a vastly improved player.
He's a guy who's really hungry to get an opportunity to play throughout the entire season. Hasn't locked up a contract yet, but is certainly trying to impress some people when he gets to the Worlds.
Klassen for Brissett. Athletic, he works inside, has to kick outside. Shot clock to 7. Here's Dwayne Notice peeling off another 3, this time unsuccessfully. Lowe snatches the rebound, goes to Kenny. They've got numbers up the floor here. Corey Webster. Rusbatch in the corner, but elects to wait now for Lowe to arrive. Works to him, he rolls down to the basket, rejected. How about that from Klassen?
The Canadians are being very physical off the ball. A lot of grabbing and holding they're getting away with, and really disrupting that New Zealand offense.
Pangos, top of the key, guarded by Delaney. It's Klassen. He's going to fire the 3 as well. Can't connect. And Webster, Corey, the rebound and off and running. And the pass, a little off the mark, trickles out of court, unable to control it there, Ethan Rusbatch.
And they've been great in that department so far in this game. You see a good pass from Corey Webster, but that's only their 2nd turnover. So a really good effort at this stage, but they need to get a bucket, need to retain this lead going to the half. They've played such good defense. They need composure at the offensive end as well.
And you saw the grab there from Jose Brissett, grabbing Rob Lowe from behind, holding him off that. Rob Lowe complaining to no avail.
Canada just 1 turnover so far. Oh, great job here with less than 4 minutes to play in the first half. Brissett outside, elevates, can't complete it. Offensive rebound for Edgem. Finds Pangos ready to shoot from outside the arc. He's short as well. Edgem gets after it again. He's omnipresent at the moment. Into the corner, Brissett. Euro steps his way into the paint and adds another 2.
3 opportunities is just too many. You get that first stop, gotta lock down the boards.
Canada back to within 2. Lowe and Edgem crash to the floor. No whistle provided. And Brissett with it in the corner. This is Tommy Scrub on Delaney. Left-handed hook shot was ambitious. Can't finish it. Klassen got the offensive rebound. Couldn't control it, though. New Zealand will get possession.
It's such a fine line in any game, but more so internationally. about finding a rhythm and being able to control the tempo. And when you feel that other team coming, you have to be able to get the ball to the right people. You have to be able to execute in the half court. And that last possession, after Canada had hit a three, coming down and spraying one up after one pass in transition, isn't the same shot as if you're on a 10-0 run, you've got momentum and confidence, you want to take that shot.
100% correct. It's something that you have to feel out and really understand the flow of the game to get that right.
Ty Webster casually fires from deep, can't connect. Brissett the rebound inside the last 3 minutes of the first half.
And to capitalize on what you were saying, Shane, just feels like a lot of rush shots. We're not seeing that same aggressiveness to the hole on these shots or the action offensively.
And Pangos again misfires. A chance for Ty Webster, no teammates ahead of him. Just overthought it, almost lost control, cleaned up his own miss. Rusbatch for Abercrombie. Dane Webster, Pangos on the retreat. Offensive foul is called on Ty Webster. It's his second personal.
Pangos quick with the feet there. It looked like Ty Webster might have had him on the hip. As you see the pass go around here, Ty Webster goes around. Looks like he's moving quite considerably to the left there.
It looks more like a blocking call from there.
It certainly did.
But what we're seeing tonight with Ty Webster, he's 1 of 5 from the field. We saw him miss that layup / dunk / we're not quite sure what it was meant to be. He's mishandled the ball a little bit, or just a little bit out of sorts.
It doesn't look like he's 100% in the flow, but defensively doing a more solid job and taking on the challenge, still being aggressive, but sometimes things just don't go your way.
I haven't seen a lot of Ty Webster, but my gut feel about him is he's got a huge amount of improvement, but just needs to be able to play with a little bit of poise. You look at Pangos, he plays with different pace. He doesn't just try and go as quick as he can. He stops, starts, and creates. That time, when he got that charge, he knew in his mind before he even got the ball exactly where he was going to go. So the defense was able to predict that and be able to get the call.
I think Ty Webster at his best is just a silky smooth player. When he's playing well, it looks like the game's coming so easily to him. And when you can see the work, you can tell that's not when he's not quite at 100% of what he can give.
19 points, 7 rebounds last night for Ty Webster. And he led game 1 against Japan with 18 points and 7 assists. So he certainly can get scores on the board in a hurry. They've got 4 fouls here in this term. New Zealand, they also had that number in the opening quarter as Phil Scrub brings them forward. Hands over to Brissett. Stood off him, so he penetrated, kicks into the corner. Tommy Scrub outside, Brissett elevates, can't connect. They're loving the 3 ball at the moment, despite the fact they're 4 of 23 from deep. They just refuse to try and get inside.
Well, they're getting inside on offensive rebounds. That's their 10th of the game, and just that's what's keeping them in right now, multiple opportunities.
Well, the scary thing for New Zealand is if Canada start dropping some, and they will at some stage, 4 from 23, 17%, it could get a little bit of a worry.
And starting to see the mentality slip a little bit for New Zealand now. Not as sharp as they were earlier, and making some mistakes like that inbounds there.
Well, Edgem off the mark, so 4 of 24 at 16% here. Canada, but they've got it back again. Good, excellent D there from Melvin Edgem in from behind.
Feels like Canada's getting away with a lot of grabbing away from the basketball. Really hands-on backs that you don't normally see go uncalled internationally.
When you see Finn Delaney, he was good in the NBL. You can see that he's continuing to improve as a player. Went to the Summer League. And here he is here tonight with 0 points and really hasn't had any impact. And last night, he played a little bit the same way.
Yeah, I think consistency is the area of his game as we see a big 3 by Brissett there. His consistency is where he needs to pick it up. He shows flashes, but to make the level to the jump that his talent dictates, he's going to have to do it night after night and find ways that he can be successful continually.
Answering 3 from Rusbatch after Canada had hit the lead for the first time in the game, but only momentarily. A tick over a minute out from half-time. New Zealand cannot afford to foul here. As Klassen hands over, Melvin Edgem making room, lost his footing. Penetration came there from Phil Scrub. Klassen again just having trouble with the footwork. They worked hard and eventually they were rewarded. As Tommy Scrub draws a foul, he's off to the free throw line.
Well, that's 12 offensive rebounds now. Canada, really, it's been the single thing that's kept them in this game.
Just the little things, the extra work. when they saw that big deficit, they've done a really nice job of adjusting to the three-pointers not going down and picking up the physicality, doing that work on the glass and getting the loose ball play going their way.
And they had more players in there. It was just the fact that Abercrombie took his mind off it and his eyes off it and didn't get a block out.
Timeout called. Let's get a listen in with Nick Nurse in a pre-game interview where he spoke about refining the roles for his team.
Well, I think always we're trying to, shape some things up. We made some steps forward and some pace of play, some getting through some more of our offensive sets, and those went pretty well. But there's still, how coaches are. There's a lot more precision in some of those things when you're close to the spot you want to be, but you're not quite there, or the timing on the screen, or you're not waiting, or all those things that you're trying to clean up.
Well, and he's 100% right. It's early days. He knows his team needs to improve because he knows in their pool, Australia are going to improve from when they played them last time. They're also up against Lithuania, who are always in the top 4 or 6 teams. They're a very, very difficult team to play against. So he will be pushing his players to be the best they can.
And also he's a coach, so he's never going to be satisfied. He's always going to see that there's way, even if you played a 99% perfect game, that one imperfect play is the thing that the coaching staff's going to remember and want to get right.
So it's over a minute out from half-time. Free throws to come here for Tommy Scrubb. 3 of 7 from the free throw line as well. Not what you expect from Team Canada. The woes continue.
I wonder if it has a little bit to do with this ball. Even though they shot it so well last night, we've heard a lot of complaints from the guys who are playing internationally about the different feel of this ball with both its design and its material from previous World Cup campaigns and FIBA campaigns.
They were 20 of 22 last night from the stripe. They've missed 5 already here. New Zealand's coughed it up, though. The length of Brissett bringing them undone. Phil Scrubb in the corner. Works it now for Best, who top scored last night for them. Yet to score here in this game. And Best goes down with Ty Webster. And he had a little bit of words for him as well.
That's a pretty cheap play by Best there. He fouls him over the back, pulls him down on the ground, then tries to trip him. Don't know what he's upset about after he pulled some guy down from behind.
Tangled up there, weren't they?
Fouls him from behind, grabs him by the arm, pulls him down, gives him a little kick. Feisty, the feisty Canadians.
Well, look at this pressure up the floor as well. 45 seconds out from halftime. And Delaney to restart. They're trying to deny Ty Webster the ball. So they face guard him. They get it to Corey Webster, who's got Best right there with him. Now Rosbach, back for the captain. Ty Webster. Not having a great night of it. It goes back to Corey. A whistle off the ball here. It's an unsportsmanlike foul's going to be called on O'Shea Brissett, who's just looking and rubbing at the eye at the moment as well. Maybe have been inconvenienced prior to the foul being called.
Well, the physicality away from the basketball tonight has really stepped up a level. Canada is really grabby with these arms. Might have taken an elbow. I didn't see what happened there, but away from the basketball, they are not letting New Zealand move at all without having 2 hands on bodies.
And they have to be a little bit careful as well. Obviously, Nick Nurse feels that the game has been very physical, and Canada have to match that physicality and make an adjustment. But what they have to be careful of is they don't react to the physical activity, because if they start reacting, this is where they end up getting these sort of fouls here, and the unsportsmanlike foul just by grabbing after his man was done. But really the big guy should have stood up and being able to bump that curl cut anyway.
Got to depend on the help, and the big man has to be vocal in that position.
Shot clock to 8 here for Corey Webster, almost at the halfway line, guarded by Phil Scrubb. Screen from Fotu. Goes on with the penetration. Ty Webster, shot clock expiring in the background. And Brissett grabs the rebound. I'll slow it down for the last play of the first half here. New Zealand lead it by 3 after enjoying an 11-point lead at quarter time. Phil Scrubb fires. Can't connect. They wrestle for the rebound. Klassen in over the back, but Fotu can only succeed in knocking it down out of court. So we've got 2.1 seconds here for the Tall Blacks. Ty Webster to restart. half foul to give Canada. They go Corey Webster. It's going to be short. And at half-time, it's New Zealand who hold sway here, Hammer, by a 3-point margin, 36-33. They'll be very happy with that compared with 24 hours ago.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The intensity that New Zealand came out with was impressive, but can they hang on and be able to play like that for the whole game? Considering the way Canada have shot, you've just got that feeling that the second half they're going to find a little bit of momentum.
Well, let's get to Casey Frank for some halftime reaction with Finn Delaney.
Well, Finn Delaney, a lot of physical activity away from the basketball tonight. Can you talk about the difference from last night's performance to tonight for both teams?
Yeah, we obviously wanted to come in with more of a presence. But honestly, I think our spacing's been better. But, you know, we're up 3, we're playing all right, but it needs to be a lot better. We need to rebound better. And they're missing a lot of open shots, so we need to get a lot better in the second half.
And what can you do on the glass to keep Canada off? They've gotten double-digit offensive rebounds here in the first half.
Yeah, exactly. That's not good enough. So just more physicality and go get it. You know, that's what you have to do. Just box out and go get it.
Simple answer's the easy one. Good luck in the second half.
Today is a completely different half compared to yesterday's game. How important is it to bounce back?
It's really important. I mean, we knew they'd come out tough today, and even though we're not making shots, we got to figure out a way to win games. So if we don't shoot the ball well, we just got to keep shooting and play good defense.
Today's a game where you're being tested. How important is that throughout this exhibition game?
It's huge. It kind of shows what we're about, and if we can come up big in these kind of games, then I think we'll be in good shape for the World Cup.
The Webster brothers are playing really well and shooting well from the perimeter. How do you slow those guys down?
We just got to talk to each other, know that they're good scorers, and we got to help each other out.
All right, good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Well, game up for grabs here between Canada and New Zealand. The Kiwis hold a 3-point lead, looking to level up at 1 game apiece after they were beaten last night. Stick around, we've got halftime highlights and a whole lot more coming for you in just a moment. Welcome back to the Key Centre in Sydney. This has been a very entertaining affair despite an injury to Andrew Nemhart. 3-point game at half-time here with New Zealand leading at 36-33 after enjoying a 10-point lead at quarter-time. Two teams are shooting the ball beneath 33%. Not always entertaining, but this one's been great.
It's been very physical. Don't worry about that. And they could just cross over those lines, I think, in the second half. But they started off so well at the defensive end, New Zealand. It started to really slow down a little bit, so a bit worried for them in the second half.
Yeah, offensively, they do have to pick it up. Defensively, everything is good for the Tall Blacks. Canada as well should be really happy with what they've done defensively. But for the Tall Blacks, offensively, the Webster brothers have to pick it up. I'd like to see some more scoring out of Isaac Fotu as well.
Big contrast in the way this game started last night. Canada scored the first 10 of the game, but here tonight, well, the Kiwis were out to make amends, and they certainly started with a very positive attitude. There was a lot more energy about them.
Oh, very aggressive, and right from the very first possession, the hard shows on balls, they were right on sync with their rotations as well, an aggressive style of play, which really then attracted on the scoreboard as well. But the thing about Canada, only 19% from the three-point line. They shot 45% last night. I expect them to be able to drop those shots, and that's why it'll probably go down to the wire.
Yeah, looking at Canada, you expect them to shoot better in the second half. They're playing with more confidence, and I think defensively they're really being allowed to get away a lot away from the basketball. A lot of grabbing that I think if they get into the world, they're not going to be getting away with that stuff.
There you see Phil Scrubb with 11 points leading all scorers at the moment. Rob Lowe has 8, had all of those in the opening term to give New Zealand to help them to that 3-point lead at the moment. And just very quickly, you mentioned it could go down to the wires. We look at the other numbers. Who's going to win from here?
I think Canada will win. I think they'll fight back. To talk about that, 19%. They won't continue to shoot like that. Too many quality players. We've seen them go down. So I'm on Canada.
Shaking your head?
I think I'm going to go New Zealand. I'm going to go with the Kiwis. I think they're going to find the toughness and the physicality in the second half, and I see the offense picking up a bit. I think in halftime they're going to make those adjustments to get the ball in the hole.
Well, the other good news for Canada is that Nick Nurse, their coach, has confirmed that Corey Joseph will play in China. He spoke with him on the phone today. It was Corey Joseph's birthday. He rang him, and he is assured by Corey Joseph that he has a flight booked. He will arrive in China before the team because there had been some rumours in the Canadian press that wasn't the case, so we can't be any more definitive than from hearing from the coach himself.
Yeah, he's booked he's on a flight. He's gonna meet us. He's actually getting to China before the team does. He's 100% still coming. I spoke to him myself this morning. Not sure where that speculation or report came from, but it just ain't true.
Well, that's important, and that's good to hear. I'm sure our Canadian fans watching it through CBC Sports are thrilled about that.
Well, he's going to make a massive difference. He's a quality player in the NBA, a veteran player in the NBA as well, and added to this squad, they're going to have a nice little team.
And what that does with Pongos coming off the backcourt or off the bench, and the quality that he'll be able to give to that second unit, it just makes him so much more potent offensively.
What we're looking forward to the World Cup, we're also looking forward to the NBA series coming up. The Breakers are involved in that as well. They'll be in China. They're going to come back and do the NBL Blitz. Then they're going to these series here, Melbourne United in games against the Clippers and the Sacramento Kings as well. But when NBL 20 gets underway, we've got a lot to look forward to. Here's something to whet your appetite.
Golding goes for a monster! Come down! Blocked by Bogan. What about that for a highlight?
Next year, I will be going overseas to play in the Australian Basketball League with the New Zealand Breakers.
Next year, take my talents to the NBL and play for the Illawarra Hawks.
I think it speaks to what the NBL is doing and how attractive of an option this is.
Here's Didi, got by Allen, what a finish, Brazilian style.
Terry Armstrong has decided to sign with the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix in the NBL. Oh, everybody wants to play in Australia.
Welcome back to the Key Centre in Sydney for our International Basketball Series as we head toward the FIBA World Cup 2019 in just 9 days from now. New Zealand have seen a 12-point lead evaporate to 3 at halftime. I wonder what Coach Paulie Hanari thinks about that. He's spoken with Corey Williams.
Coach, this is New Zealand basketball. What was your message after yesterday's loss, and what's your message for this second half?
We just wanted to make some improvements defensively, and while I think we've done that, we got lucky a few times, obviously, with the amount of boards they've had and with the open threes they've had. But I think we're doing a better job of running them off the line at certain times. We just got to stay with it and stay with the defense.
Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
The defensive effort has picked up considerably. A little bit of a trouble spot, certainly, with those offensive glass. I mean, just not good enough, giving up 11 offensive rebounds in the first half. Of course, that's 31 missed shots. so overall, not too horrible. But you want to see if you can lock that down, this would be a very different score sheet.
And many of those offensive rebounds, though, were from those missed threes and long rebounds, not necessarily being pounded on the glass as much as that rebound count might suggest. But you're right about the turnaround, Casey. Last night at halftime, Canada had 61. They scored 30 in 3 of the 4 quarters. They couldn't be stopped.
Yeah, it's a great job by New Zealand to change their mindset, play more physically, and stick to the game plan.
So we're set to go here in the second half. Canada revert to their original starting 5. And likewise for the Tall Blacks, they're back to their first 5 as well.
Little 1-3-1 zone with Fotu at the top.
Found a lot of success with this against Japan for stretches. It's going to be interesting to see what Canada does because they knocked it right out last night when it got showed for 1 play.
This Brissett shot clock works to 6. Busted play now. High off the window. Oh, he set himself up for the dunk.
Wow. Mid shot, assist, wham.
Dominique-esque. Missed the layup and get your own miss for the slam. Oh, my.
Play of the game. Of the series even, if you don't mind. Here's Ty Webster. He's off the mark. And Brissett climbing upstairs to grab the rebound as well. Don't stand in his way. Oh, Abercrombie picks, it did, and takes the charge.
Actually, stand in his way.
That is great defense. Have a look at this, though. A little bit of athleticism and pop straight off the ground.
Man, he is an impressive athlete. Look, tough move to get through, but to gather and re-jump that quickly for that finish off a finger roll miss, that's impressive.
But have a look at that from Abercrombie. A very nice play. Read him like a cheap novel through the charge.
He's Abercrombie now. Can resume that belt. Fotu getting some treatment from Klassen. Shot clock rolls to single digits as Corey Webster fires up the 3 and comes up into double figures now with 11.
And that's where he can be good, not just to score, but to give different angles of passing out to some of those potent shooters.
This fall away coming from Melvin Edgem. No good. Corey Webster.
And Isaac Fotu came out of that possession complaining about the physicality. They're really beating him up when he's getting those catches inside.
Low. Shares it now. Corey Webster. Mismatch with Klassen, just having his way with him and adding another 2.
He is so good when he draws contact, and particularly when he's going left for that step back against the big fella. Bang.
He ate that big for breakfast on that play. His eyes got wide open when he saw the mismatch.
Foul's going to be called on Abercrombie.
Look at that physicality inside, just really banging him from beside, but everybody drops because they know Fotu's got that spin move. Canada pays so much attention to the ball, left Corey Webster open, and then back-to-back with a step back. Perfection.
Well, and that's a breakdown from Canada. They have to know that Corey Webster's the most potent scorer that New Zealand's got. You can't give him any open shots, not a sniff, because once he makes one on a breakdown, you see him then start to fire up. He gets hot. He can string off 2, 3, 4, or 5 in a row.
Yeah, 4 fouls on Abercrombie. No surprise he's had to sit down inside the first 2 minutes of the second half. Pang goes. Nice dish. There was Klassen camped down low for the throwdown.
And the look away. Easy finish for Klassen, but nice setup by Pangos.
Fotu gets it from Corey Webster. Now goes back in that direction. Fotu posting up Klassen, muscles his way down. Baseline, tough shot from Fotu, but he comes up with the finishing touches.
And that's a great balance from New Zealand. Dribble handoff for Corey Webster. He explored. He didn't force something, threw it back down into the block. Good play.
Phil Scrubb, Klassen, pass Fotu a little too easily and helps himself to 2 more.
think he got confused as to what the move was going to be. Did Isaac Fotu there, but a nice finish with quickness.
Fotu from outside. Can't connect. Rusbatch did well, kept it alive. Ty Webster to Corey Webster. He can't connect. Brissett with the rebound. Against Lowe. Pango's in support. Well, he casually fires away. Shy from deep, aren't they? 5 of 27 at 18% and only 22 shots inside the perimeter. They continue to try from outside as Rusbatch does on cue. He can't connect. Corey Webster had it. Phil Scrubb got after it and now draws a foul on Corey Webster. Going to be his first.
That's an impressive rebound by Scrubb there. Just that's not a rebound in his zone. To get out of it and chase that down, that's an excellent hustle play. And sticking with it. It looked like a ball was certainly Corey Webster's off that one. Here we see the play and taps at it, chases after it. Nice job by him to draw the foul as well.
Pango's with it now. Good screen, gets away from Ty Webster, fires unsuccessfully. O2 with it. Pango's now 1 of 8 from the field, having a quiet night, and none of 6 from deep. In the corner, Ty Webster fires off the mark. Wiltshire grabbed the rebound. Now Pango's, Brissett ahead of him, likewise Phil Scrubb. Caught it in rhythm and fills it up as well.
And this is where New Zealand have to be careful. They're just playing without thought. They need to be able to get back into that dribble handoff, throw it back inside. Instead, they're coming down and spraying up threes. Ty Webster's 1 from 9 from the field. That's not a good shot.
Like to see a different decision-making process there. Just trying to get a better look for himself to get off the shot.
Close range. Nice finish. Wiltshire comes up with his first points in the game and draws a foul in the process.
That transition basketball gets the mismatch in the post against Ty Webster, and we're going to get a quick New Zealand timeout because Polonari doesn't like what he sees.
Well, and it's a great timeout, but that's where you would wish that your point guard could take control of it. You don't have to blow a timeout because they're already calling the right play. They've got a sense of they're losing momentum.
7 unanswered points from Canada has them on top for just the second time in the game. Oh, this has been great. In less than 24 hours, well, we are heading to Melbourne. And we will be there to see the USA. Well, this is the one coming up on Monday. My apologies. The USA against Canada on Monday night at Kudos Bank Arena here in Sydney. So for our viewers in Sydney and for anyone else who wants to join us, really looking forward to that. Going to be a good clash between these two, particularly the way Canada have played. They're full of confidence at the moment, having beaten Australia by 20, having won handsomely by 34 last night against New Zealand, and they think they can beat anyone at the moment.
Well, and they'll have a few days off and they'll get a chance to throw a haymaker, a big brother. All those NBA stars that are out here on Australian soil at the moment as well, they'll get a chance to be able to scout those guys, obviously on Thursday and Saturday night when they take on the Boomers.
Just a lot of basketball, good prep for the World Cup, game day after game day. And even with the short breaks, knowing how to prepare your body when you've got 1 or 2 days off and get back up to that level of attention to detail that you need. Nina Vucinic always used to say it best as a coach for the Tall Blacks for me. He said, we got to get on that razor's edge and stay there as long as possible. And it's a difficult thing to do with short buildups, but you have to do it for the 10, 20-day stretches to really perform at your best.
Kyle Wiltshire starting game 1 against Australia. Of course, his dad, Greg, played for Canada as well. Played Euro Cup last year, averaging double-figure points. And their biggest lead of the game, 45-43. Played almost 4 minutes here in this third term. Jared Kenny with it. Corey Webster in traffic, feeds low. It's to Finn Delaney, being quiet, looks for the penetration, the hook shot. It works. Chance at a three-point play.
See, I like that from New Zealand. They came out of a timeout with a strategy. There was a whole lot of false movement, but they moved the ball with a strategy of exactly where they were going to go. Have a look at this. Dive to the basket, found the open man, and I like this attack from Finn Delaney. That's when he's at his best.
It is the plan, the strategy that was well executed. They made Canada work so hard before they got to when they were trying to get the looks. There was 3 or 4 passes, making the defense move around and adjust before they attacked.
And that's the sort of play they have to be able to call on their own when they lose momentum. A great point guard senses that, then they go straight to it. Everyone's on the same page, and they execute it.
Kenny outlet pass for Corey Webster. Started by Phil Scrubb. Now Rusbatch puts it on the floor, hands over to Kenny. Shot clock rolls to 10. Low. Feeds Rusbatch, who fires short on the rim. Phil Scrubb the rebound, trying to get it to his brother Tommy, who did well in the contest there against Corey Webster. Height advantage on Rusbatch, takes him on, came up empty.
Solid one-on-one defense in transition. More stops like that is what New Zealand needs.
Pangos didn't like the treatment there. He's wrestling with Rob Lowe, looking at the referee Chris Reed for a call or an explanation.
Needs to look at his teammate for not calling out the screen.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
6 on the shot clock. Kenny trying to force a path. Well, he telegraphed that. Tommy Scrubb reeled it in. Now Pangos back up the floor. Phil Scrubb fires, was bumped taking the shot, ended on the floor, got the 3 but not the foul. Canada by 2 here. Middle stages of the third term. Corey Webster knocks down another. He's got 15 in the game now, including 7 in this quarter out of the 12 his team have mustered.
Picked up his efficiency level here in the third when they needed it most, and keeping New Zealand within touch on the score sheet. Tie ball game now.
Pangos, mismatch now with Lowe. Heats Wiltshire in the corner, firing over Delaney, and he comes up with the goods.
The right idea about trying to switch back to your own man, but Jared Kenny can't switch off an international three-point shooter like that. It's going to be too slow.
Yeah, not when it's one pass away, just the wrong time to do it. You can do it from the weak side, but not from the strong side.
Rusbatch puts it on the floor against Phil Scrubb, who dislodged the ball. It's loose. 5 on the shot clock. Corey Webster fires him. Why not? One-man wrecking machine at the moment for New Zealand. Here's Phil Scrubb waiting for Tommy, the brother, to arrive, and his finish is a good one.
Love a finish in the lane through a bit of contact. The brother-to-brother connections are strong this evening.
5-point lead now for Canada. Their biggest in the game at any stage as Delaney goes to work. And it's a Kenny, slow pass for Corey Webster. Now Rusbatch, well, he's off the front of the rim, so it's dried up for New Zealand here at the moment. And Tommy Scrubb draws a foul on Jared Kenny.
We've got to find some offensive answers. You talked about coming out of that timeout earlier, Hammer, where they had a plan, they executed it perfectly, but you're absolutely right. When they're up and down, they keep settling for the quick shots. They've got these sets in their pockets. They need to slow it down occasionally when they really need a bucket and call one of these sets so they can get an excellent look instead of an okay one.
They certainly don't look as good with Fotu off the court, in my mind. They go small in that 4 position, but they haven't had any advantage so far at the offensive or defensive end. I don't think he can spend too much time off the court at all.
20 points to 12 since half-time for Canada. Wiltshire fires again, this time unsuccessfully, and Corey Webster does the rebounding and the ball carrying as well. Goes to brother Ty, who fires at the front of the rim. On Pledger to keep it alive, and the Webster brothers combine once more. Corey Webster. Oh, difficult pass for Delaney. He can't control it. And the Kiwis turn it over. It's 8 turnovers now to 3.
Everything's so clean in the first half, and now it's a struggle. The passing lanes are getting tighter, and the passes are getting tougher to handle.
Well, I admire Ty Webster's confidence, but he's 1 for 10. So you've got to find it, and great shooters can go 1 for 10, but you find a way to be able to then get a piece of the paint, try and get yourself to the free throw line, not continue to shoot it from the perimeter when you're 0 for 6.
And that's the real difference. Finding that way to get fouled and get to the free throw line is a big difference between going from a good scorer to becoming a great scorer.
Foul called on Ty Webster, his 3rd personal. New Zealand over the limit. Free throws to come here. Well, Wiltshire has certainly sparked since half-time.
Back to Webster. He's just got to start to understand the difference between a good shot and a bad shot. If they'd made 3 or 4 passes and someone drives and dishes, he's standing in the corner. He wants to shoot that with all the confidence in the world. It becomes a good shot. But when you've got it kicked up the sideline and you shoot it in transition when you haven't been shooting the ball well, it's just something he has to continue to involve with.
So it's a 6-point lead. It continues to grow here. And they need a response. New Zealand, Finn Delaney called for the foul.
And that's going to be free throws as well.
Over the limit.
It's dried right up for New Zealand. Decent look by Corey Webster there as well. But what I'm not seeing here in the second half, what we saw more often in the first, is the attacking going towards the basket. Even when it was 3-point shots, it was coming off action of guys curling and getting to the rim. Just seeing a lot less of that. Canada's made it more difficult with their defensive energy.
Well, and the other thing for New Zealand as well, they came out with that mindset. They were tough. They were hard showing. They were in rotations. And it takes a lot of energy to be able to play like that. And wore off at the end of that first half, and now they have to find a way, as they're losing momentum, to be able to stay with it and try and get some of those stops and regain some of that momentum to keep themselves in the game. Margin is now 8.
They're starting to stretch out a bit here. Where is the answer offensively? Corey Webster off to the bench. Ty Webster's got to come down, be that floor general, find a way to get some buckets on the board for the Kiwis.
New Zealand are 4 of 6 inside the three-point line in this quarter, but they're 1 of 10 from deep. That's their major problem. They get down low and attack the rim here. Well done, Jordan Nartai, to draw contact and free throws.
Sometimes it's an easy game. Keep driving until somebody stops you. You don't want to, if nobody's going to step into the lane, go all the way to the hole, gets the foul there, and able to get some free throws up.
And it was a good read. Coming up, he's a left-hander, but being able to get that Euro step, had his head up, was able to see that there was a gap. Good pause from Nartai.
Part of the Wellington States Championship winning team. Went 20-0. Didn't play a lot of time with the New Zealand Breakers in the NBL last season. In fact, I'd like to see him play a little bit more.
Well, I coached him at Wellington as well, and great kid, hard worker. Sneaky little athlete as well.
He'll punch it on you if you're not paying attention. And he's got a little bit lighter in the last couple of years since he became a full-time Breakers player. And it's really helped his conditioning. I too would like to see him get a little bit more time and show what his full skill set is.
Tommy Scrubb with it. They gave him some latitude, so he took them on. Fires over Delaney. Thought he was fouled. No whistle. He's got it again here, Jordan Nartai. Confronted by Dwayne Notice. Now, Ty Webster. Took over 2 minutes out from three-quarter time. The momentum's been snatched from New Zealand, who led by as many as 12 in the first half. Find themselves 6 in arrears here. Fotu in the paint, paddles it toward Delaney, who fires with 5 on the clock, and it's all the bottom of the net for Finn Delaney.
Well, it wasn't pretty at the offensive end, but you'll take it. Sometimes you need a little bit of luck, and especially for a non-shooter, when you're forced to shoot it, the shot clock's running down, nothing to lose.
There's a guy who is not a non-shooter. That is a difficult shot. Nobody else touches the basketball, but it doesn't matter when you drain it like that. Look at the foul. Jeez, blow a whistle. He's got 2 hands when he's dribbling down, and he's shaking his head. What's he shaking his head at? You can't grab a guy from behind.
Well, those two have had a great battle. There's Fotu just keeping it alive for Finn Delaney to knock down the shot.
What effort by Isaac Fotu in the post to just harass down low, somehow tips it outside in a pinpoint manner for Finn Delaney to finish.
Rustbatch with it here, hunted by Pangos, and now Delaney. He rolls it down for Fotu. Has to body up here, fancies his chances. Oh, the finishing touches came from the athlete. Delaney, what a quarter he's having.
There you go. The athlete, he hits a 3. And good things happen when they throw the ball down to Fotu. Good effort from Delaney being able to stay on the offensive boards.
Well, he's Aaron Best leading with his head, charging into Ty Webster, and he's come up second best here, clutching at an ankle behind play as it continues. And the foul's going to be called on Wiltshire. He doesn't like it, wrestling with Isaac Fotu.
Physicality, look at Finn Delaney with the finish. Look down on him afterwards. Take him upstairs, young fella. It looks like Best is going to check out after twisting his ankle in this contact here. Grabbing another foot injury. Looks like he's shaking it off. He's walking now on the baseline, but it still has been substituted out. So it looks like more of a tweak than anything serious.
And again, Fotu to the offensive boards. That foul called. Team Canada in the bonus, so he'll get himself to the free throw line, and that's just the effort of being able to stay on those boards. You called it before, Casey, that it was a great play for him to be able to get the ball back to Finn Delaney, who hit the 3.
First trip to the free throw line, though. That's not enough for Isaac Fotu.
Well, it's not because of lack of effort. He's down there throwing his body around. I see a lot of contact, and to be perfectly frank, just more contact than you would normally see be let go in a game like this. But they're letting them play, and both teams are responding with physicality.
That's opposed to being Casey Frank, when you're perfectly frank.
Oh, just TGF for that one, didn't you? Glad my name isn't perfect.
He got the wood out.
Well, 1 the difference, a minute to play in the third. Stand by, good finish looms here. Given that last night it was all one-way traffic in favour of Canada, who dominated to the tune of 34 points. This has been an outstanding fight back from New Zealand. Still got some work to do inside. Edgen turns around and makes it. His first score in the game.
Sorry, guys, that was a great set from Canada to be able to get that touch.
Well, Delaney's athleticism again trying to keep it alive, wrestling with Wiltshire, can't do so. Canada get possession.
Excellent fight on the glass. That effort, when you're struggling offensively, that effort on the offensive glass can keep things ticking over. Finn Delaney had the tip dunk earlier, tried to get that one there, but nice lick from Naitai. Good minutes from him, really sparked the Kiwis to stay in for over those last couple of minutes.
Well, they had 33 at halftime, Canada. They've scored 27 in this term. And they've got the rock now with Pangos getting away from Delaney. Miscommunication there, so they'll reset. Shot clock rolls to single digits now. Edgem against Kenny. Likes his chances. Decides to fire. It's off the mark. Wiltshire wrestling against multiple players. The chance now for Rusbatch. Quickly up the floor for the Tall Blacks. Goes solo. Good option. He makes the two and draws New Zealand to within 1 point, and that's where we'll finish here at three-quarter time. What a finish looming here. Stay with us at the Key Centre in Sydney at three-quarter time. Canada 60 leads New Zealand 59.
Any other Tall Blacks fans over here? When these guys start shouting defense, you've got to go with them, get behind the team. 1 quarter left, I'm coming down here. We got some Team Canada fans. I'm talking to this guy here. Stand up, mate. What is your name? Mark. Can we get a round of applause for us old school, Tracy McGrady, Toronto Raptors jersey? Who's a Raptors fan in here? Who's a Team Canada fan? Well, folks, you didn't lift the energy in the last quarter. Mark, can you go with me here? Top leader, how's it go? Canada. Is that New Zealand wearing a Raptors jersey? Just to give him a chance to win. Who's my Canada fans? Canada! Canada! Louder. Gotta give you more than that, folks. We're gonna get your voice warm. 1 quarter coming up. Any of you want to sing along too, folks?
Well, a 1 point game here in Sydney, but in less than 24 hours, we're heading to Melbourne, a 24-hour city bursting with art galleries, iconic laneways, a brilliant live music scene, and an unrivaled sense of style. But more than anything, it's known as Australia's sporting capital and a global event city. It has attracted the best of the best. We're talking Team USA, Olympic and world champions have arrived in town, and they are set to take on the Australian Boomers at Marvel Stadium. Over 2 big games, more than 100,000 fans. Pictures coming out of the stadium are outstanding. Make sure you get there. It's going to be a fantastic event. Biggest games in Australia in 20 years. Hammer, bring it on.
Biggest game ever. Case, 55,000 people. And can't wait to be part of it. Let's hope it's a close game. I think Australia is going to be much better prepared than they were a little bit of time ago against Canada, but you've got that feeling too that Team USA coming with, they might not have as many big names as some hoped for. They have got some legitimate superstars on that team that will be hungry to get it done.
Yeah, what do they only have, like 4 All-NBA players now?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, get excited, fans. It's going to be massive. So here's Ty Wesley, looks in the corner for Kenny, just can't handle the pass. Trickles it out of court, not the start the breakers of the Tall Blacks were looking for.
That last 3 or 4 minutes from New Zealand of that third quarter was impressive. The game was getting away from them. The margin got out to 8 points, but they did it by committee at the defensive end, and with some toughness found a way to stay in the game. And now just by the full court pressure of Jared Kenny, they've forced Canada into a little bit of a fumble and an opportunity to be able to hit the lead.
In international basketball, the shots aren't always going to be clean. The offense isn't always going to be flowing, so you got to find ways to keep in it. You got to be gritty. You got to get that scoreboard ticking over. If it's free throws or if it's turnovers, you have to do something to keep it going.
27-23 in favor of Canada in the third. That's them on top. Here's Ty Wesley. That's a tough shot, but what a finish!
Take him up high off the glass.
That's what he's good at. I'm not sure why he doesn't do it more often. An impressive move off the dribble from Ty Webster. Let's see whether he keeps going at it again to the paint.
And Pango's the Edgem foul going to be called on Isaac Fotu. It's going to be his third personal.
Through contact over defenders with the kiss. That is pretty.
Degree of difficulty. Made it look easy.
That really is Ty Webster at his best. He makes it look like an easy game when the difficult looks hard for most players, but when he's playing his best, it looks easy for him.
Average 11 points a game for Galatasaray in the Turkish league, where he's re-signed for another 2 years.
Tough league too.
Yeah.
Tough league. And again, much better defense there from the Tall Blacks. Great deflection from Ty Webster. You could see the rotation on the backside was already there after that middle pick and roll.
Pangos off the inbound pass, and he fills it up. Kevin Pangos, his first score in the second half, puts Canada back on top.
As soon as there, Ty Webster got caught up on the screen for an open look for a great shooter in the corner.
Minute played in the final term. Both teams have been in the lead in the fourth already. Ty Webster with it. 5 on the shot clock. Against Brissett. Now has to penetrate. Tough shot reaching in. Relieved of it. Good hands there from Tommy Scrubb. Canada get an important stop. And Pangos wants to take them on. Draws a foul on Ty Webster. Going to be his third personal.
Impressive defensive effort with the shot clock winding down to strip that cleanly and take away a shot opportunity.
They do a great job, Canada, of being able to create a crowd, take away any sort of space, and that's where Webster's going to have to be careful in international basketball. That's not called an unsportsmanlike foul, because there was no attempt at the ball whatsoever.
You invite the referee to make that decision when you play that way. Here's Edgem outside, plenty of time to measure it. Reset the offensive rebound. He's hard to stop. Tommy Scrubb fires, and he knocks down the triple.
Second chance opportunities rearing its head again against the Tall Blacks. Mismatches made it difficult for box outs, but those guards got to do a better job.
Abercrombie knocks down the shot, but that's waved away. John Chapman's called the foul on Canada. Brissett picks it up. It's going to be his fourth personal, so that is a concern for Nick Nurse. It looks as though they're going to make the substitution, and Phil Scrubb getting to the bench. Brissett will sit down.
Not bad when you can bring a 19-point scorer in off the bench late when one of your most talented players is in a bit of foul trouble.
11 points, 11 rebounds. That's the line for Brissett so far. Been great. Oh. Wiltshire just arguing the point here. Smith-Milner dragging the ball through.
His only argument was that the wrong referee called it.
Yeah, not much of an argument. It's a tough one to argue when you rack somebody's arm and knock the ball free, but I appreciate the enthusiasm. Not a lot of ball there. Not a lot of ball.
So Rob Lowe checks back in. Toy Smith-Milner sits down. And the Tall Blacks restart. Almost 2 minutes played here in the final term. They're down 5 after they led by as many as 11 in the opening term and 12 in the second quarter. Shot clock at 5 here, so Lowe needs to get busy. Slow pass and do Fotu any favours. The shot clock about to expire in the background. First one we've seen tonight. Canada's D again up to the challenge.
Well, it looked like a foul again. There's been a few fouls missed for both Canada and New Zealand in this game on the shooters I would have thought.
And it's starting to get a little bit nippy. Guys are starting to get a little bit upset about it.
Klassen gets it from Pangos, hands over now for Tommy Scrubb. Shot clock works to 10. Another by Ty Webster. Pangos puts it on the floor. He got a little closer. He thought he could blow past him, and he does as Pangos adds another 2. 7-point lead now for Canada, their biggest of the game.
And the steal by Klassen really opened that lane.
Low fires from outside. Can't connect. Fotu wrestling with Klassen once more. And foul's going to be called on Fotu, it looks. It's going to be Fotu's 4th.
Just physical basketball underneath. It's pretty much just a dogfight down there. Rob Lowe with a look that he's got to hit. Isaac Fotu just moving Klassen out of the way. That's a big body to move pretty easily.
I'm not sure what Paul Hanare was arguing about on that one.
I think it's the cumulative effect of all the missed calls is what guys are arguing about now. I think it's definitely not the one that they're calling at the moment. It's the 3 or 4 ones that they missed before that are starting to get on guys' nerves.
7.5 to play. Canada with their biggest lead of the game. Trailed at quarter time and at half time. They've worn New Zealand down, but it's still up for grabs, and Pangos is making a difference here in this last quarter, and he continues to make a difference. He's got 8 of his 10 this term.
Sorry, Case, that's just a defensive breakdown by Corey Webster. You can't go underneath a staggered pick away against Pangos. You've got to know the scout. You have to lock and trail that and rely on your bigs being there for the curl cut.
And that's the play that shouldn't be missed. There's 0 non-shooters and the guard spots for Canada. Every time there's one of these down screens, you have to be trailing and depend on that big to help you on any curls. A mistake that's been made multiple times over the last couple of games.
Well, and this was always the challenge for New Zealand. They came out, they didn't miss any assignments at all. But the longer the game's gone, they've gone back to the way they played in the first half last night.
Just 2 points for them here so far. Well, Abercrombie was thinking done, reaching him. Foul's going to be called on Tommy Scrubb.
Broken play, ended up with something decent, but New Zealand's got to find a way to get through this physicality. Canada's taking them completely out of their offense and making it very difficult to get any kind of decent look, and everything they are getting is really late in the shot clock.
So Abercrombie to the free throw line. 2 of 2 so far in the game. Just 1 field goal success, though. Double figures in both the games against Japan as well. And we know as a 4-time championship winner in the NBL, great player.
Well, he's got to be really careful, too, with 4 fouls, putting a bit of pressure on at the defensive end. But it's very important to this team that he finds a way to be able to contribute at the defensive end, but still stay out there. It's very important.
Corey Webster, he drills the 3. New Zealand are back in the frame.
That was tight. Well, that one, Corey Webster with confidence has really played well here in the second half. 18 points for him to go along with 5 assists and 4 boards.
Phil Scrubb with it. Russ Batch on the retreat. Didn't like what he saw now. Melvin Edgem just pushes Delaney out of the way. Pangos, quick ball release for Tommy Scrubb. Off the mark, low. Appeared to be dragged out of that. No whistle forthcoming. Delaney's got it. New Zealand with an opportunity to edge just a little closer here. They've scored the last 4. Low against Klassen. Showed him the look, went to work, got it done and drew a foul. What a play from the big man.
The big fella. Where's he been hiding that all these years? Have a look at this. Corey Webster from about 1 metre outside from 3.
That is
and Low with the up fake. And old twinkle toes down the middle. Little spin off the glass, and the Kiwis are back in it, back to 4.
It may not be pretty, but it is effective. Put it on the floor all day, big fella.
Well, seen Finn Delaney much better in the second half here. You know, with Finn, he seems to be a little inconsistent if there's any criticism you can make of him. Of course, he spent time in the NBA Summer League as well, playing with the Dallas Mavericks. And on occasions, he looks like he's all world, and other times, as I say, he can be inconsistent. But let's have a look at some of the highlights from Finn Delaney with Dallas.
Yeah, he really showed his full skill set in Summer League, and he's really, I think, at this point in his career, trying to figure out what he is as a player. Is he an undersized 4? Can he be a 3? Can he pick up his skill level, really putting the ball on the floor with his strength level and go a position down, or is he going to always depend on being just a quick 4 and getting guys with surprise athleticism?
I would agree with that, but it looked like the way the Breakers have recruited this year, that they'll definitely be using him as that undersized size 4 in the NBL.
And that's something you can get away with, certainly in NBL. I think there's a lot of 4s at that position. And when he's at his best running the floor, playing above the rim, and playing with confidence passing the ball, he really does become a jack of all trades. In a lot of ways, I think he's modeled his game after Mika Bakona, another guy who came up out of Nelson in New Zealand.
That inconsistency was shown up in the 2-game series against Japan. In the first game, he fouled out without scoring in 12 minutes, and then in the second game, far more effective, 9 points in 17 minutes and 1 foul.
And that first game was on his birthday, no less. I can't get a donut on your birthday. What a tough one.
And get fouled out. What were the referees thinking?
Sometimes the Japanese aren't as hospitable as you think.
Low. And this is the back end, but it's loose. They closed the gap to within 4 after scoring the last 6 here. They've got some momentum. So what can Canada come up with as they look to sweep this series? 2-zip. Bill Scrub with it, confronted by Low in the mismatch. Draws him a little further out. Klassen, he's going to pull the trigger on 3. Can't finish it. Edge and grab the rebound. And that could be 5 on Abercrombie. He's going to foul out of the game here.
New Zealand couldn't have asked for better defense. That's who you want shooting the ball with the shot clock running down. But once again, offensive rebounds. That's the 14th offensive rebound in the game, and this one extremely costly with just under 6 minutes to play. Thomas Abercrombie is done.
That's a massive blow. He's such a dangerous offensive commodity. Can hit the 3, can dunk it, can get inside as well. So they're going to have to do it without him for the last 5:46, and they're on 14 fouls as well now.
Well, they lack a little bit of athleticism, this Kiwi team, and he's probably their best athlete. So have a look at this. That is just way too easy. You get a back pick like that, get hung up, no help from the big fella, too easy.
Pango's got the back screen down there, and had a favorite return by Rob Lowe. Where's his teammates calling out these screens? He's got to give it to somebody in the locker room after the game.
Low and pushes down Pangos, and it's called for the offensive foul, and the points are waved away.
That is a terrible call.
Oh my. Rob Lowe could only smile at it.
They needed to be yelling, flop, get up, because we're not calling that.
That is pretty soft. In a game that's been as physical as this one, to call that ticky-tack foul, I mean, what people have been getting away with away from the ball, we've had basically a fist fight every time, and there we barely see contact. But how about Pangos? 2 big threes, then takes the charge. He is putting this game on his back down the stretch.
Well, Klassen bordering on a foul here as well as he's wrestling with Rob Lowe. And there's the whistle. Foul's going to be called on Rob Lowe, so free throws to come.
Well, and that's the perfect example of what we're talking about as far as contrast, because those guys were just pushing and shoving with all sorts of contact, nothing called at all. The right call was eventually called against New Zealand that puts the big fella to the line, but wowee.
Back at the other end with that charging call as well. They'd knocked down the shot, so effectively had it back to a 1-point ball game. Now it's 6 with free throws to come, and over the limit New Zealand in terms of fouls.
And it's going to be difficult at this point. 5 minutes left. Pango's playing well. Who's New Zealand going to come to for the answers? Corey Webster, Ty Webster in the ball game, and Finn Delaney's been better in the second half. Going to have to find buckets in a quick way with 5:15 to go.
Could have been a 1-point game, is now an 8-point edge for Canada. 5:15 on the clock. Great contest. New Zealand by 10 at quarter time, by 3 at the half. New Zealand, Canada took over by 1 at three-quarter time, now by 8, a little over 5 minutes out. Ty Webster. Only 1 bucket since quarter time for Ty Webster. It was a miracle play that we saw here, and now he's off to the free throw line as he draws contact, and both teams now over the limit.
Much better play from Ty. Again, we've spoken about how impressive he is when he tries to get the ball on the floor off those pick and rolls and get himself to the bucket, and they're not helping off Corey, so it only opens up more avenues for him to be able to find space.
When you get those switches on the big man, if that 5-man's going to come guard you, point guards with that kind of skill have to be like sharks with blood in the water. You have to sniff that and attack, 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 and that's what we see there to close this gap with some free throws.
Oh, he gets his own rebound, keeps it alive. Rusbatch, who was robbed of one before, gets it now.
Big shot, up to 11 points too. Rusbatch, we know what he can do from the land of plenty. 2 from 6.
Arguably the most improved player in the New Zealand team, certainly what I've seen. Oh, and Ty Webster thought he had the steal there in the open court after poor pass from Kyle Wiltshire.
What a game of runs tonight's been. Each team has taken their turn, scoring 6, 8 straight. It's really going to come down to the wire. Who's going to have that last big run in them in a tight, tight ball game?
Looks like we're going to have to slub Klassen out here with a blood rule. Just a little bit on the arm, won't take long to clean that up. Nick Nurse a little more animated on his feet, a little bit more than we've seen as well with the game on the line now.
Well, I was just intrigued watching him give instructions to his players of exactly what they're going to run. It looked like he was signaling they're going to run some sort of curl cuts and pick and pops.
4.5 to play. Canada by 4. Thanks for enjoying our coverage wherever you're watching around the world. CBC Sports in Canada. Full scrub. Oh, manhandle, can't get a whistle. Ball goes out of court. New Zealand get an important stop.
After the manhandling by Rob Lowe, a little bit of contact on the drive, it looked like a really nice hand by Ty Webster to knock that out. But pretty difficult to finish when you got a 6'11" guy giving you a little bit of hip action.
And Ty Webster up the floor quickly. A little too nimble for Dwayne Notice eventually. Gets back in front of him. Webster brothers combine. Feeling confident at the moment. Shot clock works to single digits now for Ty Webster. Isolated top of the key against Wiltshire, looking a little nervous. Can't contain him, and he comes up with a finish.
Well, that's a great play and well executed because they recognise that Canada are switching the pick. So you want Wiltshire in those screens as much as you possibly can. That's a mismatch.
6 unanswered points from New Zealand, finally. And it was a great finish as well from Phil Scrubb. Wow. 21 in the game now for Phil Scrubb. Here's Lowe, out of the hoop and throwing it down.
Rob Lowe showing the athleticism. The game has picked up. Everybody executing at a high level down the stretch.
Wiltshire with it, isolated against Delaney. Works to the baseline, nothing on offer. Good D from Delaney, held his ground. Edgeham, 9 on the shot clock. Low on the retreat, fires, can't connect. Look at Brissett, too big, too strong. And he's going to the free throw line.
Offensive rebounds again. We're getting, both teams defensively are doing a decent job on the switches and forcing semi-difficult shots, but Canada on the misses is just pounding the glass on those guards and getting those offensive rebounds consistently.
Well, and I agree. New Zealand just played some great defense. And unfortunately, they were reactive when the ball went up. And then there's just too much athleticism from Canada. And then there's a late grab. You have to hit first. Make sure you take them off the board before you pursue the rebound.
Especially if you're a 2-guard like Ethan Rusbatch guarding a guy like O.J. Brissett. You got to hit him early and hard to not let him get that first jump off the ground.
Let's see Ty Webster again go off a pick and roll. Wiltshire's gone out of the game. They've recognised that he's probably not up to be able to switch these on balls, but you would hope that they're going at the big fella here. They create a switch. That would be a nightmare for him to be able to defend Ty Webster off the dribble.
Yeah, got to go straight at O'Classen here and attack him again, see if they can't get that switch.
Both teams over the limit in terms of fouls. Canada by 3, a little over 3 minutes to play. Delaney to tie it. Well off the mark.
Easy on the glass, big fella. Need it for the rest of the game.
Pangos gets it from Klassen against Ty Webster. Edgeham out of the baseline, trying to work over Corey Webster. Oh, he's lost control of it, gets after it, and it's going to be called for the foul here, so free throws to come. We'll walk to the other end of the floor for Ethan Rusbatch.
Again, good defense from New Zealand. Really starting to knuckle in here. Corey Webster, he's putting up a front, so he's not able to get to the bucket. The body on the line from Rusbatch.
Yeah, being guarded there, Corey Webster against Egypt. That's a physical player in the post who, like that mismatch, tried to take him down, but Corey Webster with the quick hands, physical play to force him into something else. Apparently,
they've changed the rule. They've changed the call here, and it's an offensive foul, according to Vaughan Mabry, who's overruled his compatriot Chris Reed.
No, they're actually calling it a loose, so an offensive foul because Canada had possession with a loose ball. Looked like a pretty loose ball to me there, but saying because it's an offensive foul, it can't be free throws.
No free throws.
There's a loose, so he's saying possession was still to Canada. more like something like an illegal screen or a charge there. Yeah, well,
he still had that possession.
Yeah, definitely not.
Like a 50-50 to me.
At best.
Delaney with it, hands over Corey Webster. Shot clock at 11, he fires. Oh, did a lap of honor, jumped out, Class in the rebound.
Can't ask for a better look there. Well executed again.
Pangos, been outstanding here in the final quarter, looking to create. Phil Scrubb goes back to Pangos. They exchange passes, Phil Scrubb fires, and what a finish.
Oh my, 24 points, Phil Scrubb, 8 from 15 from the field. He's been impressive.
The decision making by Pangos, find the open man on the attempted defensive rotation.
Here's Corey Webster for the answering three, just off the mark. They scramble for the rebound. Delaney finds it. Ty Webster athletically, but can't keep it alive. Canada will get possession.
Corey Webster, 2 great looks that both just left wanting everything but down, both of them. What a difference those would make. The hustle there by Ty Webster and Delaney goes unrewarded.
I guess regardless of the result here in the last 2 minutes, just the perfect workout that you want leading into a World Cup. Tight finish, what are we going to do, and play to the end.
Well, for both teams, hasn't it? Because of how physical it's been. Game of momentum as well. I think both countries have certainly got a lot out of this in preparation for 10 days' time.
And Pango's quick release, can't convert. And Vaughan Mabry says New Zealand ball, class, and argues it.
Yeah, somehow not a foul. That definitely went off Ty Webster, but gives him the benefit of the doubt. Instead of calling the foul, they give possession back to New Zealand. So instead of free throws, New Zealand gets another chance to run plays, but time is running short.
I want to see a quick pick and roll here.
Delaney with it. Hands over, Corey Webster. 90 seconds to play. They're down 6. Shot clock works to 10 for Corey Webster. Brissett in front of him with 4 fouls as well. Needs to be careful. Tough shot, can't finish it. Fotu does, and a chance at a 3-point play. Well done.
Wow. That's an impressive finish through some contact to tip it up and just to have the sharpness of mind to know you can't come down with it, just got to tip it off the glass.
And I like the decision making from Corey on that occasion. He's missed his last couple of threes. He doesn't have to settle for that. There's enough time in the game, and he got a piece of that paint, threw it up, and because he drew the rotation, it opened it up for an easy offensive rebound for Fotu.
I don't think there's any easy offensive rebounds out there today. This is a physical game. These bigs are going at it.
3 the difference, a little over a minute to go. What a struggle this has been. Outstanding stuff. Both teams in front here in the final quarter. Pangos, Phil Scrubb, shot clock at 8. That's Klassen up for the screen. Now he's going to fire Phil Scrubb from deep. Oh, Brissett, the offensive rebound to get Edgeham another look, but he's short, and a chance now for the Kiwis to draw level. It's almost, well, it's certainly a foul, and free throws to come.
Well, I think that 2 bad mistakes from Canada there. They didn't need to be able to shoot that 3 so quickly. Time was their friend. So they got the offensive rebound. They had 14 seconds. And that's just a brain explosion. To be able to foul like that, 3 points up, knowing your team's in the bonus, that's just silly.
But I'll tell you what, I think they were lucky because Corey Webster was wide open on the opposite wing. Had that pass gone off, that would have been a great look for him in transition after playing pretty successfully down the stretch. So possibly addition by subtraction with that unfortunate foul for Scrubb there.
I think you've still got to play the odds, though, at this stage of the game. You don't want to put somebody to the free throw line at this stage. You'd rather back your team, particularly because Canada's been so good in defensive transition for the entire 3 games we've seen them play.
Oh, overcorrect, gets his own rebound, went back for hard work, couldn't finish it. Contact, no whistle.
3 attempts, none of them dropped for Ty Webster. Difficult possession there.
Well, maybe he knew the percentages better than I did. 0 for 2.
Well, Phil Scrubb firing the 3 as well, can't connect. And another chance. They've got Rob Lowe quickly up the floor. They're down 3, 30 seconds to play, 10-second differential with a shot clock. Webster, penetration beyond Phil Scrubb. Here's Delaney, he was fouled. And if that could be the end then of O'Shea Brissett as well, that's going to be his 5th personal. He's out of the game.
What a fun by Corey Webster.
Another great play. And again, impressive that he didn't just try and spray it up. really good purpose for him to be able to play with his man, take him on, get a piece of that paint, create that easy finish.
How about that athleticism by Brissett? He challenged Corey Webster, came down and still got up and looked like, except for a little bit ahead from behind, was a pretty clean block on a dunk attempt by Finn Delaney. That is just so bouncy. That second jump, that's where you really define NBA athleticism, be able to get up, get down that quickly.
Corey Webster, we wondered if the captain was going to lead from the front here after leadership was lacking in game one. Well, he's certainly done that here tonight. 18 points he's racked up, 5 rebounds, 5 assists as well. So he's had a good night.
Well, he has. And again, he hasn't shot the ball as well as what he would have liked. But again, as a shooter, you can't just rely on being able to put big points on the board all the time. You have to do the other things. I think his decision-making has been solid, and his ability to be able to create for his teammate is something that's evolved over the years.
And when a team depends on you for scoring, you have to shake off misses. It doesn't matter if you're 1 for 20 or you're 15 for 20. You got to keep shooting because your teammates are depending on you and taking those looks. And he's going to do a really nice job of fighting through some struggles tonight to come up big here in the fourth.
I expect Paul Henare here. He's going to try and make these 2 free throws, 22 seconds to go. So they're going to have to foul at some stage. But you would expect they'd try and get some sort of full court trap, try and get a double team, see where they can create some sort of steal. And then at some point in time, they have to draw a line in the sand and say, we're not going to get this, let's put them in the line.
Well, this is an exhibition game. So if we finish at full time, scores are level, overtime is up to the coaches if they want to play. What would both coaches want in this scenario? Would they want to play an extra period?
Of course. Definitely. This isn't soccer. We're going to OT, Case. And I think, you know, these sort of environments, and time out here, you learn from all of the little things that you might have to execute in game one of the World Cup. So this is really important rehearsal for both clubs.
Third missed free throw in the last minute in a 3-point ball game.
They were 11 of 12 from the free throw line coming into the final term, and they still have gone ice cold from the stripe, but they've got it back again through Ty Webster. Here's Delaney, down 3, 15 seconds to play. Corey Webster puts it on the floor, takes it on, and he gets it done, and a chance to level it off the stripe.
Look at that. My, he's been impressive off the dribble tonight. Great little hesitation. They thought he was going to shoot the 3. Everyone in the stadium thought he was going to shoot the 3. That's his strength. But have a look at that. Great little touch on the finger roll from Corey Webster.
That unbelievable play there. The way he played with the ball to get scrubbed in and off of him, and then the finish. Big shot.
First free throw in the game, and he's tied it away with 12 seconds on the clock. Well, Nick Nurse working to the bench here.
He wants the timeout.
Timeout. 12 seconds to play. 81 apiece.
Wow. And again, this is great press rehearsal for Nick Nurse and his team to be able to execute one of the plays that he would have, you know, in his playbook from the NBA's would be very, very deep. But also for New Zealand, what are they going to do to be able to disrupt?
Well, we can't have a microphone in the huddle, obviously. Let's take a look at some of Phil Scrubb's highlights so far in the game. 24 points he's put together. And there you see the numbers for him. 5 assists, 4 boards. And invariably, when they needed a bucket, he's been able to provide it.
And such patience offensively. You see how he gets into space and gathers himself. He does a nice job of squaring up whenever he's got those catches. And if the shot's not there, he puts it on the floor. But more often than not this evening, the shot has been there. He is just so opportunistic.
And the thing I like about his game is he looks unorthodox. He doesn't have the same sort of athleticism of some of the guys that might look a little bit prettier, but he does it by his poise and his ability to be able to read the defense. He hits the shot, but at the right time he goes up and uses his poise to be able to find ways to score.
Yeah, his poise, his knowledge of spacing on the court, when he's got those mismatches and the step backs, creating just enough space to get those shots off, has been very impressive.
I'm saying they score right here.
All right, calling it.
Well, I just feel like the way they've executed on baseline and sideline out of bounds plays, and I think it comes from Nick Nurse.
And they've been successful with it all evening. Can the Tall Blacks find a defensive possession and force them out of their stuff?
And that's a great challenge for them. 12
seconds on the clock. Tied ball game. Hang goes with it. Guarded by Ty Webster. New Zealand over the limit. Can't afford to foul. Now he goes penetration. Klassen for the dunk. Was challenged by Delaney. couldn't finish it. Oh, and now a violation, a double dribble violation
dribble,
called on Isaac Fotu.
And Rob Lowe grabbing a leg. It looked like he did a calf. Possibly a cramp.
What a defensive play. Well executed from Canada. But what about the Tall Blacks standing up? Last line of defense.
Finn Delaney on the rim. Look at that block.
Great defense.
Isaac Fotu dribbles, went to pick it up. Double dribble is the correct call. What a play. Finn Delaney, 1.3 left.
That's a bit of a worry for Rob Lowe, though, because there was no contact at all. Sometimes when that happens.
I think the way he's walking off, it looked more like a cramp than it did anything else. Back-to-back games, big minutes in both games. Probably not used to this here, but the way he's grabbing it there, a bit high. So hopefully it's, I think if it was a bit of a tear, it'd be something else. More attention being paid for sure. No timeouts for Canada. They got to go with it here.
1.6 on the clock. Not a lot of time for them to make something happen. Game on the line here. Are we headed to OT, or can Canada come up with a finish? They're going to spray it. Wiltshire fires the three, wouldn't fit. And OT is where we are headed. Terrific battle here between Canada and New Zealand. 81 apiece at the end of regulation with the overtime period to come.
Oh my, he was a millimeter from stepping out of bounds on that one, and a great look there. Nice job by the officials to keep their eyes on it, let that shot go up. Nice play once again, called by Nick Nurse.
Well, and everyone thought the ball was going to go to the closest man. It looked like he was leading the pass from Pangos to the baseline. A little jump shot over his shoulder, but a little deception play and a really well executed play to their best three-point shooter that was wide open.
And something that a big who would be guarding him isn't used to doing. The bigs are worried about the basket, so they had to get out quickly with Toy Smith-Milner. Been a game full of highlights here early in the game. Rob Lowe finishing early, but the difficulty of finishing, the passing by both teams, the extra pass being made, and impressive by both squads, fighting through the physicality all evening long. I'm just so impressed by the way the Tall Blacks have been able to turn around, and a short-handed Canadian team also has been impressive once again.
Well, not only that, the Kiwis have been able to hold this Canadian team to 41 points less than what they got last night. Again, held them to 36%, so very impressive effort. 55% last night, down to 36, so well done to New Zealand on this fight back.
Yeah, and this finish here by Corey Webster, the game tire, big shot. Big players make big plays. Toy Smith-Milner got there just in time to keep the three from going on for Wiltshire. I mean, just, man, what a game. This has been fantastic to call. There we see the top scorers for the evening. Corey Webster, what a game for him, 21, 5, and 5. Phil Scrubb, pretty close to it as well, 24, 4, and 5. And O'Shea Brissett, 12 and 13, dominant before he fouled out at times.
Well, in Canada, only shooting the ball at 26% from the three-point line tonight, 45% last night. So they did well in the second half to find a way to be able to get back into this game when they weren't relying on that three-point shot, which is clearly a strength for them.
And both teams, I think, probably not shooting as well as they would like to. The Tall Blacks slightly better than the other day, but it's been a gritty game. It's been a grindy game. It's offensive rebounds, physical, big screens for everybody. I think both teams are going to be plenty sore tomorrow. I think Canada's going to be happy to have a few days off before they play the States on Monday.
So as we mentioned, what a great build-up for the 2019 FIBA World Cup, which starts in China in 9 days. And as we mentioned, New Zealand, well, they have got a tough time of it because they face Brazil in their opening game, who are ranked number 12 in the world, and Montenegro, who are 28, finishing with Greece, the number 8 in the world. So two teams inside 12 in the world.
Giannis Antetokounmpo has been impressive in this build-up. There's been a lot of talk about NBA players not wanting to play for their country. This guy has been putting it on the line night after night. He had a block party against Serbia recently. Was, I think, finished with 4 or 5 blocks in the game, and all of them mightily impressive.
Hammett, you picked Canada to win. Casey went with the Kiwis. Who wins from here? We're sticking with our original thoughts.
Yeah, I'm going to stay with it, but I've been impressed with New Zealand.
Yeah, definitely no change of mind over here.
All right.
I might lose my Tall Black card.
Canada with a possession arrow. 5 minutes on the clock here after we can't be separated in regulation at 81 apiece. No Tom Abercrombie for New Zealand, who's fouled out, and O'Shea Brissett is fouled out for Canada. Phil Scrupp, Pangos down low. Wiltshire, quick release over Delaney, gets the 2.
And they run that action so well for their bigs, sprinting down off those screens, turning and sealing low, making it easy for the finishes. Ejim does not agree with the foul there. Felt like it was pretty clean and refuses to get the ball for the official, says you can get it yourself.
But how's the execution from Canada? You spoke about it. That simple pin down, nothing overly complicated about it, but the way they execute it, everyone on the same page, pretty to watch. And this free throw shooting, John Casey, over the last minute of regulation, and now to miss this first one, and from good shooters, just can't afford.
Oh,
that's
nice.
4
6
of their last 11. They've missed their 7 free throws down the stretch. And it's Canada by 2. 4.5 in the first period of overtime. Pangos exploring. Tough shot. Oh, it came to Ejim. He feeds Pangos. Couldn't get it from close range. Knocks down the long range 2.
And the loose balls, once again, Canada gets to first. Offensive rebounds all night long, paying dividends.
Here's Corey Webster. He's done a great job since halftime. Can't connect on that occasion. Class in the rebound. Pangos. Ejim works hard to get up the floor. Wiltshire in the corner, fires, and he drills the triple. Timeout New Zealand as Canada burst out to a 7-point edge here in OT.
It also looks like Isaac Fotu is limping just a bit. He came up on the wrong end of something off that offensive rebound. So, wow, firepower quickly. 7 quick points.
7 points in the first 60 seconds of OT. What about Rob Lowe? 12 points on 5 of 8 shooting. He's knocked down 2 of 3 threes, 7 rebounds. He set the tone early with 8.6 rebounds in the opening quarter, being great.
And showing the athleticism and quickness off the dribble. Rob Lowe. It's a big loss for him down the stretch. He'd go out as he gets the dunk as well. And he really built his confidence up in that second half after not a great shooting first half, but second half in a bad game, able to find his stroke and it carried over to this evening.
Well, he does something much different than the other 2 bigs with Pledger and Fotu, so he plays an important role. A little bit of a concern, just him rubbing the back of his knee, so you wouldn't think it'd be a cramp or anything like that. Didn't look like it was a bad tear, probably more of a strain. You mentioned playing pretty big minutes. 2 games back-to-back, and they will certainly want to be able to make sure that he's right for game 1 of the World Cup.
It's always tough. I think one thing that's always not really taken into account for these international timings is how often you move through climates and how different it is going from New Zealand where it's cold. You go up to Japan where the weather's much warmer. Now you're back in Sydney. All that kind of stuff it plays havoc on your body, having to find a way to play and get to its best in so many different kind of weather situations.
Back in Sydney where the weather's just perfect,
but dry. We're not used to. Kiwis aren't used to it. We need a little bit of moisture in the air. Where's the moisture?
And the wind today as well. Very windy day in Sydney.
Maybe that's what's happening to the free throws.
Don't know if we can use that as an excuse, Casey, but nice try. Here's Corey Webster again, wheeling and dealing and adding another 2 to his tally.
The aggressiveness going to the lane where the shot's not falling for the team. You need a bucket. That's a great play by him to finish there.
23 in the game for Corey Webster. Only Phil Scrubb with 24 has more. And Wiltshire heads up players. He throws it down onto Isaac Fotu and out of court.
And a great defensive play from Ty Webster. He refused to be posted up by Wiltshire, so he got around in front, almost caused that turnover.
Lob play for Klassen from close range, adds another 2. Another expert job there from Canada.
And simple actions, opening up the back doors time and time again for Canada. The breakdown defensively once again by New Zealand on the baseline out of bounds.
Ty Webster with it, got it from Delaney inside Fotu, double team, steps between them, overcooked it though, couldn't finish it. Wiltshire the rebound. Now Ejim quickly up the floor, created space. Whistling down low with Corey Webster. Shot from Wiltshire off the mark. Is Ejim got the offensive rebound and marches back in for 2 more. The margin now out to 9.
And once again, the great seal by Klassen to just open up that lane for his guards. He is just physically really having his way on these second chances, clearing guys out.
Well, and this is as good offense as they've got. The New Zealand Breakers with Corey Webster putting the ball on the floor. Just too easy. Big fella using his body to create space. But again, when you're in the bonus as a guard, you want to find a way to be able to cause contact. High percentage free throw shooter is Corey Webster.
Keeping that scoreboard ticking over. Corey Webster has been huge down the stretch. 24 for him now.
Makes it good. 25 in the game for Corey Webster. Takes over as the game high scorer. Margin at 7. Phil Scrubb picks up the dribble. Gets it back from Wiltshire. No, wants to go on with it against Delaney. Shot clock to 10. Wiltshire fires over the top of Delaney and fills it up for 2 more.
Huge in overtime. The big fella with the stroke has been deadly.
It's Corey Webster. Mr. Fotu can't finish it. And the pushing foul is going to be called on the Tall Blacks here.
Looks like Isaac Fotu's night is over for him. 5th foul there. Another charge called. Pangos once again getting a big on to commit that foul. Didn't really see the action well. My guess is it's similar to the last one.
Yeah, a little bit, but again, good read from Pangos being able to put his body on the line. But Fotu, have a look here.
He does a good job selling it. Isaac Fotu moving forward. Pangos does a nice job for the 2nd time down the stretch of getting set and forcing the call.
Well, he looked sore in that entire last quarter. Looked like, you know, he played a lot of minutes. Maybe hasn't come in with that same sort of game fitness as what he'll need. So he's going to take a lot out of these games as well if he can recover between now and the weekend when they go to the Four Nations tournament.
First trip to the free throw line, Kevin Pangos in the series. And he adds the extra, so a double-figure lead now. 14-4 is the equation in OT. In favour of Canada. 2:21 to play, and you're right about Wiltshire. 7 points in regulation, 7 here already in OT. Ty Webster takes on. Wiltshire gets it done. Chance at a 3-point play. Wiltshire picks up the foul.
Nice action going to the basket. Aggressive, not settling for jump shots. Ty Webster just finds that big, and once again, blood in the water. He sees a big on him. He's going straight to the hole. This time gets the foul. Hopefully a free throw drops.
And the thing I like about that play is it was all downhill. A big man was the only person between this man, Webster, and the bucket. He's just got too much athleticism with the ball.
He has to respect it. He's done a nice job of rebounding from a poor shooting performance early to find his way late. 11 points now, off 4 for 14 from the field.
Oh, Klassen, Edgem, and Wiltshire now all with 4 fouls as well. As Pangos works on an opening, takes on Ty Webster, who's going to be called for the foul. It's going to be his 4th personal as well.
Ty Webster made that decision early to meet him at the rim. Looked like he jumped straight up with hands straight up in the air. Pangos created a lot of that contact, but gets the benefit of the doubt for being aggressive offensively, to the disagreement, although jovially, of Ty Webster.
Big game player. Barcelona, Pangos. And he's got 4 points here in OT as well.
He's got 9 assists and only 1 turnover. Really good floor game. Again, I talk about his poise and his ability to stop-start, hit the open 3, but also to bring his teammates in is going to be vital for Canada to come to the World Cup.
Joy Smith-Milner with a rebound. Now Corey Webster works inside Pangos, stops, pops, can't finish it. Melvin Edgem there with the rebound. Inside the last 2 minutes, first period of overtime. Canada by 8. Loose ball. They force the error here, the Tall Blacks. So New Zealand off and running. Dispatch quickly up the floor. Corey Webster takes on Pangos. Can't find a way past though. Inside Delaney. Into Klassen. Couldn't get a call from the referee. Loose ball. Pangos after it. Delaney reaching in from behind. Forces a jump ball. Possession arrow is with New Zealand.
This big lineup of Canada using their 2 bigs for the first time all game is really having an effect physically. They're fighting well through the mismatches, but the way that Finn Delaney was met at the rim by Klassen there, physical play, ran into a brick wall, could not get the finish. Did well to fight through and force possession arrow to come back to the Tall Blacks.
Delaney just getting in a tangle here with Wiltshire. He's playing with 4 fouls. Needs to be careful. Vaughan Mabry, the referee, just having a quiet word as well. Ty Webster to restart. Well, Edgem had hold of Corey Webster there. It was lucky that went unwhistled. Now an over and back violation is called.
How you don't call a jersey grab? I mean, that's right in front of the official, looking right at the play.
Yeah, definitely a missed call, but impressive the way Canada switched those. It was seamless. It was like they didn't even have to communicate it. They knew exactly what the Kiwis were doing, and then they were able to stop Corey Webster getting that catch.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Melvin Edgem to restart here. 80 seconds to play. Canada by 8 in the first period of overtime. Pangos, step back against Delaney. Oh, it's a big time play.
Man, oh man, that is quick with the dribble.
So Canada doing it nicely at the moment, but Corey Webster's not done with just yet as he gets up to 28 points.
Man, high level basketball. That's what we're viewing this evening.
Less than a minute to play. Pangos picks up the dribble. His Phil scrub firing, that's off the mark. And having an impact here, Toy Smith-Milner grabs another rebound. Been good in OT. Ty Webster puts on the step, dispossessed, ball knocked down out of court, and New Zealand will restart.
We'll have a look at this from Pangos. Man, just great off the dribble. Again, that stop-start game, herky-jerky, very tough to defend. The next time down, as we see Corey Webster hit that one, the next time down, he tries to get his teammate a wide-open shot.
Pangos is just great control over the game. He is just a point guard in the truest sense of the word, and the way he takes advantage of those mismatches. He had Finn Delaney not knowing which way he was going to go, ends up with that pull-up to really seal it down the stretch.
Pangos has 7 in OT. Wiltshire has 7 in OT. 14 of the 18 that Canada have scored. And we're just checking the clock here. Chris Reid at the scorer's bench. This has been a very entertaining affair. And of course, Canada has to back up and play the United States here in Sydney on Monday night at Kudos Bank Arena. And New Zealand, well, they've got an appointment with a 4-team tournament in China starting on Saturday.
Quick turnarounds.
You'd think there'd be a nice crowd too at Kudos Bank Arena. There'll be some good atmosphere there. Some top basketball and a little bit of rivalry, I would have thought. Canada getting their opportunity, playing against the big dogs, and Nick Nurse coming up against the master coach in Coach Popovich.
Popovich has been having a ball with the press gallery here in Australia, pulling out the one-liners left and center. Saw today that he said that he forced Patty Mills to give him the game plan with threat of regular season playing time being dropped.
I love the fact of how the American team has been accessible to all of the media out here, getting some quotes and really buying into that side of the whole thing, being able to sell the game of basketball in Australia. These tournaments have been fantastic for the sport.
True ambassadors of the game when you go around the world and make yourself accessible, because these are young kids' heroes all over the world.
That's right. They've been sharing their time. And foul going to be called here. Free throws to come for New Zealand. And Edgem,
he fouls out there. Gets his 5th.
And I love his enthusiasm, but that's just a bad foul. Bad 8-point lead with 42 seconds to go. Nick Nurse won't be expecting that you're just going to put the opposition to the free throw line, stop the clock, a chance to be able to get that back to 7. Rolling the dice for no reason.
Ethan Rusbatch able to find the range from the free throw line. Another solid performance for him. Up to 12 points now.
And counting. So 42 seconds to play. 6-point ball game. Still not over just yet. Full credit to the Kiwis for fighting back. In regulation, it looked as though Canada were going to find a way home. And they refused to take no for an answer. They kept coming. The pressure up the floor, and Pangos in its confined space. And they've coughed it up here. Rusbatch, oh, rejected. But illegally was the call there. Foul on Tommy Scrub.
No quit. No quit in the Tall Blacks. Doing a nice job of just up and in, forcing the turnover right to the rim. Ethan Rusbatch again to the free throw line.
It is just great defense. And again, they need to be able to come towards the ball. Look at that from Scrub.
An unsportsmanlike foul has been called now as well.
Oh, late discussion there.
And it's on Tommy Scrub.
Well, Klassen was lucky he didn't get called for one as well. As the Tall Blacks were going into a huddle, he came through with an extra little bump for no reason. Got away with it, but the referees have gone pink on the next one.
Are we going to get a double overtime? Are we inching towards it? 2 free throws, 4-point game, got the ball again.
Nick Nurse shaking his head, saying, "You're kidding." I've seen it all. Nice smile.
For the first time, he's coaching up on his feet. Spent most of the 2 games, or the 2 games against Australia as well, just sitting in the chair. So Canada by 4, 30 seconds to play. New Zealand with possession, and they are coming with the momentum. Ty Webster against Klassen, playing with 4 fouls. Has to kick it outside. This is Corey Webster, 1 on the shot clock. Gets it off.
Oh, my.
Background, they'll count it.
A lot of contact. Pangos and Joey Smith-Milner getting into it underneath as well. The physicality is staying. 2-point ball game, 20 to go. Can the Tall Blacks force another turnover?
Corey Webster going left is automatic. Look at the full court pressure.
Phil Scrub got in the air, gets to the Pangos now, who finds Wiltshire. Decides to go to work, and a blocking foul is going to be called here on Smith-Milner, and he's just bordering on an unsportsmanlike there with the reaction, getting passionate about it as well. 12.5 seconds left on the clock.
Well, he's shaking his head, but that was the right call as well.
Yeah, he's moving in, getting the hands in as well.
Well, by the time Wiltshire went up, have a look at moving to the left. It's close, but we had a pretty good angle on it from here, and very lucky that he didn't get a tech foul on the reaction, because you will get some European ref that'll just be looking for any reason to be able to get himself a tech.
The choice was thrown there. You gotta, if you want to take that charge, have to get there really early. And he was on an island. He was a 2-on-1 fast break with no help coming.
Interesting though that Wiltshire actually went for it.
Yeah,
15 seconds to go. They're up 2. Waste a little bit of time. Try and draw those free throws. He really rolled the dice. They could have been called a charge.
You want to know what 19-year-olds want to do? Score. They want buckets.
Well, 4-point spread now, 12 seconds to play. Canada just need to be smart here. And Corey Webster takes it from brother Ty and goes back in that direction. Get up the floor, firing the 3. Good D from Pagan. Knocked it down. Somehow the miracle play.
Corey Webster, unbelievable evening.
Love that play. Getting Ty Webster being able to go to the basket. Misdirection with Corey Webster coming off the screen at the top. He loves going left. That time he said, "You're kidding. I can go right as well."
33 points. C. Webb in the house. Bounce back game. We still got 4 seconds to play. Anything can happen. Look at that rattling home from deep.
He loves it here. The last game he played here in the NBL, he had 38 for the Breakers.
Well, he wants to see, is West Sydney coming back? Do you think he might be asking for it?
Oh, that's just fantastic. And what a finish. 101 to 100, the equation, 4 seconds to play. And they've looked shaky getting the ball back in Canada.
Well, they have. You'd be wondering whether Andre Lamanis and his squad would start talking about whether they're going to press at different stages come that first game of the World Cup. And that's what we keep talking about these games are for. Now Nick Nurse is going to have to go away. They have to put a little bit more of a press break in and a strategy. And again, in the NBA, they just don't press. You're playing 4 games a week. You're not playing full court defense in a pressing style of defense.
Yeah, Rick Pitino tried it once, and it did not end prettily. It did not go well, but with that timeout, Nick Nurse moves the ball up to half court, so much easier to get the ball in bounds. Tall Blacks, if they don't get that steal immediately, have to foul right away. And even if they do get the steal with just 4 seconds, going to have to get a shot up the court quickly. Look at this lineup.
It's interesting.
I love what he came out with a box and 1 in the NBA Finals. He's got some stuff up his sleeve.
So Canada by 1. Less than 5 seconds to play. First period of overtime. Wiltshire with it. Tries to get away from the contact. Smith-Milner provides the foul. Free throws to come. Third personal on Smith-Milner.
Just a four-man sprint. That was a couple of their best shooters coming back. Wilshire just hit some big free throws. Another opportunity for him.
Well, and it was a good decision out of bounds too, because Klassen is wide open at the elbow. Obviously not the same sort of shooter as Wilshire.
Question here, do you make it? Because if you make it, they got some time to make it. If you miss it here, really difficult. Get that three up from full court in 2 seconds.
You make it and protect the loss.
He does that, and they're going to bring Aaron Best into the game. Wiltshire will sit down. So Kiwis have got 2 seconds to get this up. They're down 3.
Don't foul on the out of bounds.
Finn Delaney's going to restart. And going to go long. They got Ty Webster in a good situation. He's going to have to work outside. The time runs out. Stepped out of court nonetheless. And I wonder if we'll put any time back on the clock. It doesn't appear so. It's full time here, and Canada has prevailed in an epic encounter in the first period of overtime. Canada 103, New Zealand 100. Stick around, we've got more coming from the Key Centre in Sydney right after this.
Second game of basketball tonight, it took overtime to split the sides. Kyle Wiltshire here from Team Canada has been good enough to join us. Give it up for top Kyle. Hey Kyle, man, you got a great look at the end of regulation, but then you came in and you had half your team scoring overtime, 11 points in overtime. Was it personal mission to come out and make a difference down the stretch?
Yeah, for sure. We got the win. We want to thank all the fans who came out and made the game fun. That's what it's all about.
And Kyle, talk to us about playing for Team Canada. Your father represented Canada. I believe your half-sisters played for the country too. What does it mean for you to represent the country over here in Australia and here in the World Cup in China?
You know, it's a huge honor anytime I play for Canada, so I'm really honored to be on this team. And, you know, Australia is a beautiful country, so thank you guys for having us.
Well, man, we appreciate you having you. And just finally, talk to us about this group. Your challenge tonight. They made a run at you several times to resolve amongst the group. Where does that come from?
You know, we got a very equal team, you know, very unselfish, so any given guy can step up every night, so it makes us tough to defend.
Man, that was definitely clear. Folks, why don't you give it up for Kyle Wiltshire and Team Canada? Hey, while we're here, I see him over chatting on him, but he's sneaky, see what grab Team Canada head coach Steve Hill have a word with the fans. He's been kind enough to come say today. Hey folks, I reckon it might be nice to hear from him. Team Canada head coach and Toronto Raptors championship winning head coach Nick Nurse. Hey Nick, I was just saying to Kyle, you come in late with this group, but heck of a resolve amongst the group, challenged several times tonight, find a way to respond to those who get over the line.
Really good experience for us. The whole trip to Australia, we've had some rugged games, played pretty well, fought through some things. We missed some guys here and there, but if we put in there just plays and we're coming together. We're really proud of them.
And
Feeling like
Welcome back to the Key Centre here in Sydney. What an epic game this turned out to be. New Zealand gave it their best shot, but Canada were able to come up with the finishing touches and prevail in the extra period. It was 103 to 100. They escaped with the win. Let's get some post-match reaction now. Corey Williams is standing by with Phil Scrubb.
Great team effort. They took you down to the wire. Much respect to New Zealand.
Yeah, a lot of respect to them. They played us really tough, and I'm glad we were able to pull it out in the end, but it's great to play games like that now.
Good luck in a couple of days.
Thank you.
Can you talk about what the mentality was coming in?
I think in the first game, we were embarrassed by our own performance. We didn't play tall black basketball. And, you know, we were trying to make sure the second game we came in here right from the start and let them know that the first game wasn't us. It's about growing from here to the Worlds, and, you know, I'm proud of the boys, how they came out in a bounce-back game. Still didn't get the result, but we did a lot of things much better.
And a high level of physicality. Can you speak to what it was like trying to get open off the ball? It was really grabby looking from the sideline.
It was. That's how it is in international ball. A lot of aggressive defenders, long, athletic defenders, so, you know, you got to play that more intense, try and get open, work your cuts, be strong with the ball, all that type of stuff, but that's international basketball. We got to expect that every game.
And then moving forward, you got the Four Nations tournament coming up. What can you take from the way you guys were able to bounce back and move forward looking up into the World just 10 days away?
I think we can take some confidence about how we bounce back, like you said, but you know, when it comes to the Worlds, we got no second chance. We can't have a bounce-back game. We gotta step on the floor and play like that from day one. So we're gonna go in this tournament and just make sure we use that as a baseline and grow from there.
Best of luck to you moving forward.
Great job by Corey Webster. Great job by New Zealand. Just a little bit better by Canada. It all continues. Tomorrow night we're in Melbourne for Australia versus the USA, and again on Saturday as well. Credit where it's due. Hammer, he tipped Canada to win by single digits. Well played.
Well, just fell in, didn't we? We expected New Zealand to be able to fight back. They were impressive tonight, and both teams will learn a lot from the contest.
Yeah, physical game and what they needed coming out. Took some pride in the jersey and showed what they can be when they play at their best.
Really outstanding effort. Trust you've enjoyed our coverage. On behalf of Shane Hill, Casey Frank, Corey Williams and all our hard-working crew behind the scenes, I'm John Casey. We'll see you again soon here as the International Basketball Series ahead of FIBA World Cup 2019 continues.